Ahoy, landlubbers, it's me, your Captain Vasco speaking. And welcome, it's Saturday, November the 12th. We're back for Saturday, woo! Um, yeah, last Saturday I wasn't streaming because I was mostly just watching Christmas movies with my family because it's November and that's what we do. Um, and we're back with Lamplight City, moderately contentious game. We tried playing it before Halloween because its whole vibe everywhere looks pretty spooky, bordering on like Lovecraftian like investigator horror. And in reality, it's like a weird steampunk cop game where you're haunted by your dead partner. It's weird, and your partner's a terrible character. So like, yeah, I get that it's not everyone's favorite, but I get the impression from other like adventure game enthusiasts that like
Yikes
there's more
forever.
Yikes Forever. We did, as of this stream, we've added Yikes Forever. It's around. I imagine it'll be used like a lot. Have fun with that. Um, but yeah, so like I get maybe this game's not everyone's favorite, but like I hear like really good things about it from people who play adventure games, and that's not always. There's a lot of subjectivity because the genre's all story based and narrative. So like some games work, some games don't. But I came away from that first case ultimately like having a pretty good impression of this game, and so like I definitely want to try some more. I don't know if we'll necessarily finish it, but I'm interested to see more. Thank you for the 59-month resub, Haggis, and also earlier had one from Neko, our current VIP. 1 month short of a full half-decade of my life subbed here, and I wouldn't have spent it anywhere else. Well, thank you, Haggis. That's very kind of you to say. What movie did you miss out on mentioning? I was talking about titling VODs because it took so much of my week to like get that stuff up on YouTube. Particularly Little Misfortune because we just added the Yikes Forever, and literally no one asked, but I was like, I avoided titling the stream VOD Yikes Forever because if you go on YouTube and search Yikes Forever, what you'll get is a listing of every single video of Little Misfortune ever in the history of time, because every person has named their video of experiencing Little Misfortune Yikes Forever, which makes perfect sense. But if you want your video to be found, don't call
forever.
it Yikes Forever. Also said there's snow on the ground tonight. I heard it's like watching like a weather forecast, and it like took special care to call out Chicago, and it was like, yeah, like Chicago decreases like 20 degrees from this same time next week. It's like in the span of a week it's supposed to go from like 24 degrees Fahrenheit to 4 degrees Fahrenheit. I was like, oh, demolition, no. Supposed to get a big storm soon. You're not in the path of the hurricane, are you, Haggis? I'm only like kind of aware of where that's at. What are those temperatures? I don't know, because I live in Fahrenheit land, the land of the Indigo Prophecy. I'm gonna bring up the game. So the poll that I put up before had 100% vote for pick up Lamplight City from the most recent save, which means gamble whoops, which I think is the save. Now, a smart pirate would have gone back to the VODs and been like, hey, why don't I refresh myself on what's going on in the game? And I put up a poll that was like, should we go back to my oldest save that's related to the case, the auto-generated save that's like right before you get the mission, or the most recent save? And the best option for future-proofing this content won out, which is the most recent one. So my recollection of the case, which we'll now rely on, is that we had been assigned by our friend who like gives us cases to investigate under the table because we were a cop, and then our partner died and he haunts us and he's the worst. That's most of the backstory you need from the first case. We are hunting some sort of gentleman ghost florist who was at least indirectly responsible for his death. That's the thing that's ongoing. He'll complain about that for sure. But this time around with case 2, our friend was like, hey, like, more wealthy to-do people need your help. Definitely not the Lindberghs had their baby kidnapped. You should go help them. And I started poking around, like, I started investigating, like, the first night, and, like, the game cut the investigation short because my character was, like, he'd taken laudanum to stop the ghost voices in his head, and so he had to go nappy time. And then we, like, showed up at, like, noon the next day, and we're like, everything's fine, I'm fine. And I, like, found, like, a gambling receipt that the husband had that he was hiding from his wife, and we had, like, an opportunity to question him about it, and then, like, I was being really sassy because I knew we weren't going to make it very far at the end of that stream, and I'm like, I'm just going to go wander off now that he wants to have this candid talk with me. And I went back to talk to him again. He's like, I am no longer willing to tell you about gambling. And I was like, well, that's probably gonna cause issues. So we're gonna find out what that, like, this time we're definitely not gonna 100% this case. We're gonna find out what that means together. So, like, yeah, the husband was gambling. The wife, I feel like we learned something. We found evidence that sort of suggested that they're kind of an estranged couple.
Yikes forever.
Yikes forever. And, we talked to the nanny, and, like, she believes in this sort of, like, new age, like, spirits and crystals jam. I don't know what to... Any word that comes to mind to describe it feels, like, needlessly dismissive. But, yeah, so that's, like, roughly my recollection of where we're at. I don't remember the exact point that Gamble Whoops is gonna take us to. But we're gonna find out together. I think it's just, like... I think it's the save I did, like, immediately after I found out that he wouldn't talk to me about his gambling debt or whatever. Also worth noting that I was poking around in my save files to figure out what save files I had access to before we got started. And just out of my own curiosity, I went back to the oldest one, because, like, everyone was like... There's a conversation at some point during this case where your partner, whose name's, like, Bill or something... is, like, yelling at you about taking the laudanum and how you used to be cool and whatever, and now he's, like, annoyed that you're, like, trying to make him stop yelling at you all the time. I hate this relationship. It's very bad. And like, lots of people seem to be like, oh, I'm sure that you can just, like, not take the laudanum and it, like, changes things in the case. And it turns out that's actually not true. And I was surprised to learn this. That, like, if you go back to that point in the case, this one, where... like, the game, like, literally tells you to go in your bedroom and, like, take your medicine. And, like, it makes you think that, like, oh, like, if you could just, like, try and leave the room or something. Like, it gives you the impression you might be able to do it. But if you try to do anything other than take the medicine, he's basically just like, I should really take my medicine. And it's like, okay. So I guess, like, that's not, like, a choice point or anything. Anyway, I see some people joined us during my attempt to recap nothing. Hello, Ditto. Hi, Angel. Not having a very good night, so you're lurking. I'm sorry to hear that, Angel. I hope things turn around. Yikes forever. Is that a portrait of Keanu Reeves in the background? Sure, that might as well be true. Actually, will it tell me who this is?
I know the hand and waistcoat pose are supposed to look stately, but to me it always looks like the person is scratching themselves.
What's wrong with scratching themselves? Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, wait. Did I set this properly? Okay, it remembers speech hold because it's assigned to the save file? That doesn't seem right. Because the save file definitely doesn't... Wait, does it? Does the save file remember your settings? Is that why when I go to the main page, the settings are always reset and I assume I have to do them? But the save file might remember? Huh. I hadn't considered that possibility. I also have another, like, quirky thing like that I could talk about for Little Misfortune, but I've been talking about Little Misfortune and not this game, which we're supposed to be playing. It does seem silly, doesn't it? It seems like you'd want to save that at a macro level, but, you know, I guess there's some merit to, like, if you wanted a really loud save file and, like, a sensible volume save file, maybe that's, like, a thing? I don't know. So yeah, like I said, I feel like we're gonna have a rough couple minutes as I try to figure out what I have done, what I haven't done, and what I can do. But then I think we're gonna be fine. Let's try talking to both of them and see what we can learn. Is there something on the left window? If you mean this one, you can see through the other. Like, I think it got, like, smashed through. Someone, like, broke into this house and kidnapped. Definitely not the Lindbergh baby, I promise. Not the Lin... Oh, that's right. I forgot there's, like, a giraffe in this one. There's, like, a giraffe in this case. Don't worry about that. Yes, Ditto, I did see the thing you sent me on Discord.
Giraffe.
I've been working the file to make it something I can use. It's a much better asset than I figured anyone could find, and I'm grateful to you for sending that my way. It's because of the nature of that particular episode, like, the sound effects are, like, kind of weirdly distributed, so, like, I'm doing some editing, and there's something else I want to add to it, and we're gonna see if anyone other than you or me cares when I'm done with it. Yeah, we got giraffe. So yeah, someone, like, broke in here. There's only, I guess they, like, broke the window, undid the latch, came in, took the baby, and left. I think is what we're led to believe. Does this game have a real inventory? I can't remember now.
Yeah,
I think it doesn't. I think this game doesn't have a real inventory. I think at some point I got, like, a loose button and, like, a monogrammed handkerchief or something. And I apologize for not responding to you, Ditto. It's been a busy week. I wanted to take a look over the file and start working with it, which I did, like, this morning, and then I've mostly been, like, working on stream stuff all day, so, like, I kind of forgot to get back to you. But thank you for doing that. Yeah, so I came in here and I rummaged around in their stuff, and they have, like, a cyber vacuum cleaner or something. Okay. Let's talk to the parents. Meet the parents.
Sit tight, Mrs. Harris. I may have more questions for you later.
Okay. Well, I don't remember whatever I asked her, so that's a good start.
I'll let you know if I have any more questions, Mr. Harris.
Excellent. Great. Good progress. I think we can all agree that I know what I'm doing. Demolition says the new God of War, which came out this week, I think this week, right? I've lost track of time. Has a ton of accessibility settings, just like The Last of Us 2, but cranks it up even more. Love how auto jumps gaps, auto picks up items. Yeah, that's nice stuff. I like that. And Haggis says, my favorite accessibility setting is replacing mash or hold prompts with simple presses. Yeah, right? Like, there's almost none circumstances in gaming where I really feel like the mash button adds anything. So that's nice. Also, like, it really, like, you don't even need to have, like, a particularly strong, like, joint disability in your hands for that to, like, feel really bad to do. Like, it just feels like that's a strict upgrade. Alright, so, like, what all... I do remember, I think the Spectre Society is the thing that the nanny was talking about. God, it feels loud here. Let me know if the sound levels need to be adjusted further, but I think they're, like, mostly okay. This just feels... I think it's just a loud screen. So, like, when I spoke to the nanny last time, she... Oh, that's right. I think she had identified... I really kind of wish we had, like, a real inventory. Oh, we have, like, a fake inventory. So, like, stuff we found. Torn fabric with the letters SS on it. That's a bad sign. The loose button, I think... Yeah, the nanny identified the button that we found in the crib as coming from, like, a stuffed toy, like a bear named Barney. And she told us that the bear was, like, a gift from some, like, rando at her, like, cult meetings, which is the Spectre Society. I think that's what we should do next, because it doesn't look like I have a lot of leads, and I can't ask anyone any questions. So let's go see the cute ghost. New Britannia, where are we? That's such a good question. If you read the description for the stream, I think I said, based on the information that we've been given so far, I described this location as New York Leans, England, because there have been elements of New Orleans and, like, voodoo culture mentioned. There's been some implication that we're, like, kind of in the Americas in New York, but, like, there's also definitely, like, a Victorian England setting. So, like, I think currently, I'm inclined to call it New York Leans. They've mentioned a couple of, like, districts in the city that we're in, but I think maybe they do literally call it, like, New Britannia, like the generic, like, it's a British, like, it's like a roguelike, but for towns that are pretending to be from England. And it says it'd be really wild to set up a point redeem macro to overlay Return to the Past. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm working on. I had like a really specific implementation idea for this that I think would be a lot of fun, but like it would be for like a very specific kind of stream. And there are people who won't get it at all, and the people who get it will think it's really funny. It'll be very much like Eternal Sonica, which I think is one of the best ideas I've ever committed to like to YouTube, and I don't think anyone on Earth likes it. So it'll be like that. But like, yeah, I'm kind of trying to put together like a faux, like just entire Return to the Past thing. And it will mostly be for my own entertainment, and maybe also yours ditto. And then like maybe people will start watching Code Lyoko, and then they'll question themselves and me. But anyway, let's go talk to the Ghost Society and like try and make progress in this game. I like games like this where it's easier for me to hang out and just like not have to respond to stuff immediately. There is something super weird about the like speech hold thing in this game where like by default all the characters just talk nonstop, and the other version is like the extremely far end of the spectrum. The entire show is free on YouTube now? That's interesting. I knew some episodes were. I watched like half of the live action season, which was like all available on YouTube, but I think I heard something like they took that down or something. Eternal Sonica, the Sonic game featuring Chopin. Yeah, it was I don't know if any other person actually remembers it. For like April Fool's Day like 8 years ago or something, I coerced Tech into playing like 40 minutes of Sonic 06, and then we made like a series of fictional slideshows in the speculative style of Eternal Sonata's fiction that talk about like Sonic the Hedgehog's past. It like combines like several bad ideas in a way that's really funny to me, and I'm my own target audience. You can, it's still on there. I'm not sure it's actually any good. I like scrubbed through it recently and I was like, I don't know if this is any good. I love the idea. I'm proud of me. I don't think anyone else liked it. So let's see. My options are, I'm Miles Fordham. I wanted to ask you a few questions. I'm interested in joining the Spectre Society, or wrong house, never mind. Now, there have been a couple of times where it felt like these choices matter, but I think there have also been some where it felt like they didn't. So I'm not going to spend too much time caring about this. But my instinct says these people might not trust a private investigator, which is more or less what I am. So, like, why don't I just, like, try and get an in with them?
This is the Spectre Society, right? I'm interested in joining.
Ah, yes it is. Welcome, darling. Our membership process is a bit different to most social clubs. We require a sponsor.
That's not great for us. I guess as my fiance lit up at a mention of Code Lyoko. Dude, Code Lyoko is, like, absolutely one of those things that's, like, if you know, you know. Like, I legitimately, like, look, there's some goofy stuff about, like, a French-produced anime-styled thing with some of the weirdest, like, general character design choices I've ever seen in my life. But, like, the whole world of Code Lyoko, for all its silliness, is, like, really genuinely interesting to me. And it, like, I like that its stakes are, like, higher than the average, like, rando, like, Disney Channel cartoon. And, like, the drama's, like, a little bit amped up, too. And, like, my favorite thing about Code Lyoko, I think, is that it does, like, it does excellent characters as resource work. Where, like, there'll be, like, a plot where, like, some monster or something is, like, attacking the school. And, like, like, all three of the main heroes, like, want to go to Lyoko to help Aelita, like, shut off the tower so that the monster will stop attacking. But, like, if people, like, die before you return to the past, those people die for keeps. And so, like, they'll often have to, like, decide a reasonable way to, like, split their resources. And so, like, the A and B story, like, both actually have drama to them, where it's, like, Odd is, like, soloing some, like, smoke monster in the dorms, and then, like, Ulrich gets, like, one shot by, like, a tarantula in Lyoko, and then it's like, well, I guess it's up to Yumi to, like, not get killed before Aelita gets to the tower. It's like, I don't know, it's just really interesting. Oh, you just got to the one where Xana takes control of the military satellite and shoots missiles at the school. That was a really wild one. Isn't that still like season 1? It says his D&D group uses Leap the Precipice, the like main battle theme from Eternal Sonata, as their non-boss battle music. That's the best thing I've heard all day, and we've been talking about only things that amuse me for the past like 10 minutes. I don't know who the target audience of this stream is now that we've reached this point of the Ouroboros, but I'm into it. Dude says the stakes are high, but the pacing is so weird, it almost doesn't feel like it. Mrs. Ditto. That's kind of fair. That is kind of fair. But I really do like Code Lyoko. I just rewatched it myself like a year ago, like around this time last year, I think. And it's a really fun show. And so like I've mentioned a few times that I really wanted to like get Return to the Past sound effects, and Ditto helped out with that. And we'll see what I can make of that. I think it'll be fun. We'll find out. So we need a sponsor to get into the Ghost Friends Club. Do you think I can pivot and be like, just kidding, I'm the cops, tell me your secrets?
Sounds simple enough.
Well, you see, we ask that sponsors be people who have passed on into the spirit world.
I am uniquely qualified for this.
Once you name your sponsor, I will attempt communication beyond the ether.
It's like my partner died, so all I have to do is give them his name, question mark?
When they answer, you will be judged and considered for membership.
I mean, part of me just wants to jump into I've got a sponsor because I've got a ghost who lives in my head. But, like, I'll play a long game.
What are you looking for in a sponsor?
Dead? Is the answer merely dead?
A willingness to communicate from beyond the ether. Open-mindedness, a desire for truth. In other words, all the qualities of a member of the Spectre Society. Actually, we've had former members who have passed on act as sponsors before.
I'm gonna be honest, I zoned out and didn't listen to that at all.
I've got a sponsor.
Excellent. What is the name of your sponsor, darling?
Let's try the thing that feels obvious. I don't know if it'll work. It probably won't. This is probably a puzzle. Make up a name.
Bill Legere is my sponsor.
Seriously, Fordham? I thought you knew better than that.
Bill Legere. Very well. I will attempt to communicate with him.
Is Bill the angry ghost in my head telling me that he's so spiteful he would not help me get into Ghost Club? What do you think the first rule of Ghost Club is? I don't think it's don't talk about Ghost Club. Is it like don't talk about the mortal realm? Are you only allowed to talk about spooky things?
She can do this all day. It's not gonna work.
I'm sorry, but I'm having trouble communicating. Perhaps you can come back and try again later?
See? Told you.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Woo! Okay. Hey, I can look at a
I
hitching
wonder if
post.
Phillips' steam-powered carriages will ever make those things go out of fashion.
First rule of Ghost Club, you say woo when haunting someone. You clean up your own ectoplasm. That's a pretty good house rule for sure. Okay, that didn't go very good. Hey, what's at my own house? Does my wife know how to solve the puzzle?
Home at last.
It's good to have you back.
Does anyone remember that time that I like kicked the sound cable on my computer and then the sound cut out, and then I did the most offensive British accent possible for our wife, because I remember it fondly.
Addie?
What do you need, dear?
Are you okay? Eddie, are you okay? Let's start by complimenting her. She's our
I'd
wife.
forgotten how good you are at écarté. You absolutely destroyed me the other night.
As I recall, you used to hold your own pretty well.
Wow,
We
harsh.
should have another match soon. That way I can hone my skills.
Yes, we should. As long as you can concentrate, I'm sure you'll get as good as you used to be.
But I'm super haunted. Let's talk about Ghost
Have
Club.
you ever heard of a group called the Spectre Society?
I think I had a client once who mentioned it. There's some kind of spiritualist group, right?
So it would seem.
I don't really know anything else about them, sorry.
Do you know which client it was? Maybe I can ask their dead relative to let me in. Just notice how much this reminds you of LucasArts Indiana Jones games. Oh yeah, it's clearly retro style. I mean, I don't know if you've also noticed, but like, there's a whole purple bar here, and that's because it's like 4:3 aspect ratio. I had to troubleshoot that. I could just leave it black, but I think that would be confusing for scenes like this. I prefer this. I don't know if anyone cares. Let's ask about her job, I guess.
You weren't kidding about business picking up. You're averaging what, about 3 appointments per day?
More like 5. I told you, debutante ball season's busy.
Ball season.
Doesn't it get tiresome?
Not really. You'd be surprised at the sort of gossip I hear from my clients. I don't know what it is, but they just open up to me and tell me all kinds of personal things.
You figured the purple was an accent wall? More or less, yeah. Hey, you want to see how janky this is? You want to look behind the curtain real quick? Boop. Yeah, it's just the same image from the standby screen that I just covered up with the game. Aren't I clever? No.
You sure you don't want me to give you a trim?
I'm fine for now, dear. Thank you.
One of these days I'm gonna get a haircut again. My hair lady's gonna be like really mad at me again. She got mad the last time I came in because she was like, you should come in every 3 months. And it's been like 4.5 months. And so she's gonna be like, why do you do this? That's not true. She'll definitely talk about her dog for like 40 minutes and then I'll leave. That's like definitely what will happen. Delacroix. Is that the lady we're working for? I don't remember their name.
I can't believe the nerve of that narrow-minded old cow.
Who, Mrs. Delacroix? She's actually one of my nicest clients.
I believe it's pronounced Delacroix.
I don't know how you can tolerate her. If I were you, I'd strike her off my list.
If I did that for every one of my clients who thought the same as her, I'd be out of a job.
Oh, right.
That's just the way it is.
Delacroix was the... At some point in this case, we like walked out into the living room and she said something like kind of openly racist about our wife and was like, oh. And then I think we said like something really passive aggressive and then like made eye contact while kissing our wife or something. It was weird.
Maybe so, but it doesn't make it any less infuriating. How are things going with you?
I'm a bit worried about some rumors I've been hearing.
Oh?
They're saying it won't be long before automated hairdressing devices are available to the public. Once that happens, it's going to be tough for me to keep getting jobs.
This sounds like the Carousel of Progress. Are we doing the Carousel of Progress?
Automated hairdressing devices? How would those even work?
Doubtful. More than likely they'll have some kind of settings or just give everyone the same type of hairstyle.
I wouldn't worry too much, Addie. You're the best hairdresser in town. I doubt people will place their trust in some contraption over you.
In contraption we trust
You
them.
underestimate my clientele, Miles. They're mostly all rich socialites whose hobbies are buying the most expensive and modern things just to outdo their peers.
My mom suggests maybe I delay going back to the hair lady because she yells at me. No, actually, I think the last time is the first time she made a big deal out of it, and also the actual reason that I put it off is because I don't like going outside because COVID still exists, so I really try to minimize places I go, especially indoors. And so I'm more willing to put it off than I used to be because my hair's like really bad right now. It's like super dense. It's not like length isn't the concern. I think people naturally assume that I'm like, oh, like I just need it shortened. No, length's not really the concern at all. Like it needs a little bit of a trim just to like deal with like inevitable like split ends because I'm a guy who like doesn't do hair good. But like it's just like my hair has this magical tendency to just like become like an impenetrable like thorn wall of hair. It's not great. I don't recommend it.
They'll be sending their servants to line up for days before the things are released.
Perhaps, but they'll come running back to you once the machines stop working. You'll see.
I certainly hope so.
Are we gonna sabotage them? Is that the third case?
I'll let you get back to your book.
Oh man, I sure don't know what to do.
Have a lovely day, Addie.
Don't work yourself too hard, dear.
I don't intend to listen to that. That's reassuring. Neko says, I work hard with my hair and it still gets split ends. I don't actually know much about treating split ends. I did buy, like, a hair product that my hair lady recommended. She says that she has a similar type of hair to mine, and that she uses this, like, specific detangler, which, like, I use, and it doesn't feel like it does a ton, but it does feel like it does a little. Hopefully it lasts for eternity, because it was expensive and it came in a small bottle, and, like, feels like it does medium instead of like a high level of good. Let's talk to our police contact. Will you tell me what to do? Because I don't know what I'm doing.
Can we talk?
Go on, I'm listening.
Oh yeah, this place is super loud too. Other case? Other case? Seems like a weird thing to ask about. You shave your head yourself every few weeks or months. So, you just use that as like a reset button? You don't keep your head like routinely shaved ditto? You like let it grow out until you're like annoyed with it and then just like shave again? That's an interesting strategy. That's kind of what I do with my facial hair. It's that like I definitely don't want to like keep facial hair, but I'm too lazy to shave like all the time. And so like I'll just go until I'm like, nah, I'm annoyed with it again. Let's ask about our good friend, what's her face?
How's work going?
Hectic as usual. Crime in this city seems to be getting worse and worse every day.
I suppose that's the price of progress.
That's what happens when you don't have Spider-Man.
God help us if they ever actually discover that ethericity stuff then. Things between you and Adelaide getting any better?
I'm really not sure. They haven't gotten worse, but things haven't been the same between us since Bill died.
I mean, it's definitely Bill's fault.
Well, you need to figure things out, or everything is just going to explode in your face one of these days.
Thanks for the vote of confidence, Upton.
I'm merely speaking from experience. If I'd seen the warning signs of Harold sooner, it would have saved me quite the headache. At least your marriage seems like it's still worth saving.
That's a thing to say. The review case.
Can we go over my current case?
Of course. What have you got?
I found this torn piece of fabric at the crime scene. It's got an emblem with some initials on it.
I recognize that emblem.
E.
It's from Solomon Stitching, a little tailor shop in Lyon. My
Oh.
ex-husband had several jackets from there.
Says that really unhappily. Is it just because I made her think of her ex-husband, or does she hate his jackets?
Sorry to dredge up old memories, but do you remember where they're located?
I believe it's on the corner of Bonneville Street and Surratt Avenue.
Oh my god, I found a lead. I'm so good at this game. Man, I'm really not focused today. I apologize to anyone who wants progress.
Fantastic. You're helpful as always, Upton.
I like this lady. I don't know why. Of all the characters we've met in this game, she might be my favorite so far. Although, like, a lot of the people in the last case were, like, deliberately kind of awful. But the button, she's not gonna know anything about the button. It's from, like, a bear from the ghost.
Found this button at the crime scene. The child's nanny identified it as the eye of his stuffed bear.
It's a really interesting strategy, Ditto. I haven't really heard of anyone else doing that, but it sounds like a good strat if it works for you.
Did you find the bear at the scene?
No,
I did
the
not.
kidnapper must have taken it as well.
Interesting.
Either the kidnapper is very compassionate, or it's someone who knew the child.
Those, I think, are both likely outcomes, but I think it's also very possible that a third option would simply be that they were either, like, cognizant enough of the fact that a child will behave better if they have their favorite toy, or, like, the child was, like, risking, like, throwing a tantrum or something that would get them detected as they were trying to kidnap the baby, and they thought the toy would help, and it did. So, like, I wouldn't necessarily assume that they were, like, compassionate or close. Ooh. Tell me about that nanny's testimony.
I spoke with Henrietta Davis, the Harris family nanny.
A sensible place to start. What did she have to say?
She claims to have been unconscious when the kidnapping took place.
She must be an extremely heavy sleeper.
I don't believe so. The way she described it made it sound like she was drugged.
Interesting. Definitely worth looking into, I'd say.
Ghost
Have
Club.
you ever heard of the Spectre Society?
I think so. They're some sort of ghost hunting club, aren't they?
Hunting makes me feel good.
A spiritualist group, yes.
Don't tell me this case has taken a turn for the supernatural.
Not exactly. It's just come up as a potential lead. I'm having some trouble getting in, though. They want me to name a sponsor who's dead.
Just when I thought I'd heard everything. Well, bluffing with some random name probably won't get you very far.
I like that it's an option, though.
You're right. It would make more sense to try finding a name that would mean something to them. That's enough about the case for now.
Okay.
I don't know what I expect other case to do.
What's the other case you mentioned? The one you said was a higher priority.
Well, it seems we might have a mass murderer on our hands.
Stack the Flipper?
You don't say.
That's right. I didn't say because I shouldn't say. But so far, we've had 3 murders with a very similar MO in the past 2 months. Snelling is trying his hardest to keep it under wraps since the newspapers already caught wind of the first 2.
I don't envy the department there. I'm happy to stick with the missing persons and domestic disputes. That's it, I think.
Then you'd better get back to it.
Ocean says I'm really disliking the mounts. I mean, I get disliking them. I'm not sure. I strong like I don't mind them personally, but like I think they're done well enough that like I don't have that strong feelings about it. Ghost Club exists. It's founded in London in 1862. Wait, really? Just to be clear, are you doing real life research on the actual name, the Spectre Society? That's a little interesting to me. Let's go to the tailor shop and learn presumably nothing. Uh-oh.
Good day to you, sir. Welcome to Solomon Stitching. I'm Jonah Solomon.
Okay. God, that's a loud clock. No, just on Ghost Club. Okay, I feel better about that.
Please,
Tell me if you
I
find
can help
anything
you with
interesting, though.
That coat is so dull. I always prefer the ones with a bit more color.
It is a really odd choice to me. I mean, I feel like you could almost objectively say that Bill is just like the worst character in the game. Certainly I feel that way. But like, it feels so peculiar to me to like choose to make him like not a particularly likable character, and then somehow let him be the voice of narration instead of your own character. Like, usually in this type of game, like, you get to know what type of character...
Big titty.
Thank you, Demolition, for the big titty. Like, usually in this type of game, like, you get to, like, know more about the protagonist because, like, you see their observations of the world as you go along. So it feels really weird to me that you, like, just don't get that perspective of your character and instead find out what Bill thinks about stuff. Like, who cares what Bill thinks?
My grandmother had one like that. I think it was meant to be relaxing, but it always felt like my time was running out.
Shouldn't your grandmother have had a grandmother clock, which I assume is somehow functionally different?
Now that it has, well, it actually is relaxing. Go figure. This guy has been in business forever. Isaac Samuels, the prime minister who freed the slaves. They say even his enemies wept on the day he died. I sure hope I get to meet him someday. Quite the selection, but I doubt the typical clientele of this place buys off the rack.
Ooh. You think I can... Hang on, you can't even see it. Boop. You think I can steal that box up in the corner? I think I might be able to steal that box up in the corner. Scruples be darned. Just have to drug him or render
Mr.
him
Solomon?
unconscious.
Yes, sir. How may I be of service? Oh, let me guess. You're looking to replace that old coat. It looks like it's got quite a few stories it could tell me.
You should listen to the man, Miles. He clearly knows what he's talking about.
Not today, I'm afraid. Actually, I was wondering if I could ask you a few questions.
Questions? Very well, but if they aren't about tailoring, I don't know how much help I'll be.
It says you can sign up for Ghost Club, and there are a number of membership benefits, including lectures from experts in paranormal and participation in spooky investigations. They even accept overseas members. When did you say it was established? 1862? Yeah, I mean, that's been around for a while, for sure. Portrait mode. I mean, we know what the button's from.
This is a nice shop you have. I never even knew it existed.
Well, better late than never, I always say. Life has a funny way of always taking us where we need to go in the end.
True. Although I think it's easy to miss out on things from time to time.
Oh, of course. It's easy to overlook the details, but in the grand scheme of things, you'll end up where you need to be. And in this case, you ended up here. So
buy something
feel
expensive.
free to take a look around. Let me know if you find anything you like.
I guess she couldn't find any rules of Ghost Club, however. So she presumes the first rule of Ghost Club is never talk about any rules of Ghost Club. But membership fees or something, there's probably rules with that, right?
I found this piece of torn fabric with your emblem on it. Can you tell me anything about it?
Yes. Brown, wool, houndstooth. This is from one of the more popular jackets I sell.
So not particularly unique.
And here I thought my ability to name ales within 5 seconds of tasting them was good. This fella has me beat.
No one likes you,
Do
Bill.
you have any of them in stock currently?
It'd be really funny to me. Like, I've generally, like, I hadn't heard a ton about this game before I started playing, and then, like, after I started playing, I feel like I heard a few different sources be like, this is, like, a well-regarded game. Part of me wonders if this game could become so popular that they did a, Bill edit, like a remaster where Bill sucks less.
Well, sure, I've got one on the display dummy over there.
Is there any way you can tell me who you've sold them to?
Ooh, I don't think so. I've sold at least 20 in the past month. As I said, it's a very popular style.
Tell me about your turn-ons, sir.
How did you get into this business, Mr.
I was always good with a needle and thread. When I was a boy in Poland, I would help my mother with her sewing.
So real Poland exists? So we're in New York Leans in England, but just regular old Poland exists? Just like straight up Poland. Okay. It's kind of like that thing that I've talked about. Like I want like a proper like JRPG or something to be like, okay, we had to travel down the rapids of Cortania, and then we had to traverse the caves of Dugenspire, and then we had to cut across the fields of Ohio. Like, I want that for some reason. I think that's, like, really funny.
Then, during the war with Russia, I fixed uniforms and stitched up wounds. Not long after that, I moved to Vespuccia, settled here in New Britannia.
It's extremely confusing to me that we've named several, like, real-world nations, and then we're like, yeah, here in New Britannia. Like, what's going on?
My first shop was in the Chum, but thankfully, I was very successful and was able to move to Lyon.
Like, starting the stream, I thought, like, one thing that I knew for certain is that I couldn't feel any less confident about the location of the setting of this game, and yet here I am, being more confused than ever.
I won't lie to you, this location is much, much nicer. It's refreshing to not have to step over drunken hobos when I open and close the shop.
Oh, but that's part of the charm of owning a business in the Chum.
Not much else to say beyond that. My business is my
I
life.
was talking about wieners.
Am I boring you, Demolition, or are you just having fun? Either answer is acceptable. Don't worry about it. I'm just curious why. I feel like we haven't gotten a lot of traction on the swear jar for a minute. I guess as they took the last name of America Vespucci instead of the first for America. Oh, you're right. That is what they did. That's so weird. The old man was talking about wieners. Regrettably so, Neko. We asked him about, like, a piece of fabric that had his logo on it, and instead he was talking about wieners the whole time.
You seem very dedicated to your craft.
That's right. You won't see any of that newfangled steam-powered nonsense in here. Everything is done by hand and with care. I use only the finest quality materials and stitch every thread myself. And that's the way it's gonna stay as long as I'm around. It's worked for 45 years. There's no reason to change as far as I'm concerned.
I'll ask about the button, but I know this is a red herring.
Is there anything you can tell me about this button?
Looks like it's made of wood. Not very well crafted either. Definitely not from one of my products.
I'll be taking my leave of you now, Mr. Solomon.
Very good.
Why does his beard have butt cheeks? You know, that's actually an extremely good question, Neko. And I don't know. It does. You're not wrong. But it does. I guess he was even more distraught about this conversation than I am. The worst part of this world is that Vespuccia has a prime minister instead of president. I'm not sure if that's the worst. Hey, can I have your
That
stuff?
will be a garment soon. A vest, by the looks of it. Or maybe I'm completely wrong, and it's a treasure map.
Ooh, treasure. I want this.
Judging from the position and the lock, this is likely where Mr. Solomon keeps his money.
No, I want it more. I want to steal from this man. I'm an adventure game protagonist. I don't have scruples. Give me your
My
cash, old
grandmother had
man.
one like that. I think it was...
I already asked
Wait,
about the clock. And everything in this room. I'm leaving. Let's go talk to the nanny and see if she'll give us a name to sponsor Ghost Club.
Hello again, Mr. Fordham.
Hi.
I have some questions for you, Mrs. Davis.
All right.
Chest of dolls? You know, I gotta tell you, when we chose to pick up from the latest save, I knew there would be some things that I wouldn't remember, and I feel like I mostly have a sense of my bearings at this point, but I cannot, for the life of me, guess what Chest of Dolls is referring to? Really high-pitched voice?
I couldn't help but notice that chest full of dolls in the corner.
Oh, that. Oh, I know it must look a bit strange, but I pick up old and broken dolls so they can be repaired and donated to orphanages. It's my way of giving back to the community and helping poor children who have nothing to play with.
Well, what a kind soul. I wish she would find less creepy ways to express her altruism.
Like, I feel like I want to have like a roundtable discussion with the people who wrote this game, cause like, I almost get the impression that they've modeled the Bill Ghost partner character after this concept that like a sarcastic, like snarky observer is like popular in these types of games. But like there's kind of a big difference between being like snarky or even jaded and just like kind of being contrarian. Cause like it just seems like anything that seems good he hates, and anything that seems like lame he's like, I don't know, I'll defend that for some reason. There's this broken discarded dolls become haunted and turn into bayonets. So you're saying she's not doing a public service
Thank
then?
you for your time, Mrs. Davis.
I got an achievement for asking about the chest of dolls, which is, it feels very confusing to me.
Very welcome.
Okay, that didn't help the... Can
I
I
suppose
have
it's
some?
for a good cause, but that doesn't make it any less disturbing.
I don't think I'm gonna find anything else here for
These
the
are all
moment.
books on spiritualism and the occult.
I'll be going now, Mrs. Davis.
May the spirits guide your path.
Okay, I love you, bye-bye. And it only wants to murder the children who discarded it, so she isn't causing any harm. Yeah, ghost Pokemon really are kind of messed up, huh? And yet I really like their designs, and they're typically some of my favorites. So in theory, I need to, like, find the name of a person that the Ghost Club cares about. I don't immediately know where to do that. I guess I should check out the house more? I'm short on leads. Adjust in seat.
I'm sure the only location the Harrises care about...
That thing's a globe, huh? It's like red, so I didn't really clock that.
One thing is for certain. Mr. Harris uses an empty suitcase. I suppose Mr. Harris must travel every now and then. Mr. Harris's color selection is almost as drab as yours. Yeah, it seems like this is where Mrs. Harris keeps her unmentionables. I like the ones with the frills and the stitched cat.
Interesting. I don't remember if I searched through these drawers. That might be where I found the receipt, but I feel like for some reason I don't remember actually opening drawers.
Paperwork and receipts. Nothing particularly interesting here.
Oh, that's interesting. The new, I can't remember his name. The Gator guy from the new Pokemon game is a fire ghost starter. His final evolution is kind of rough, though. I'll be honest about that.
More lacy underthings. Mr. Harris's color... Painting of the city. Probably the only time the Harris family sees any of the other boroughs.
Clothes pile.
There's a handwritten note among the clothes.
A clue I missed! Miriam, baby, I have to see you tonight. It's been far too long. R. So this is like her scandalous thing we can ask about?
Let's see what we have here.
What have we here? What have we here? What have we
Very
here?
poorly written letter addressed to Mr. Harris.
I miss so much in this small room. I'm bad at stuff.
I don't suppose it's a letter of admiration.
On the contrary, the author seems quite upset.
Mr. Harris, this is your weekly remainder. This is like that episode of Futurama where, like, Fry tries to rewrite the story that he's trapped in for the sci-fi brains, and they're like, and now we will leave Earth for no reason at all. Mr. Harris, this is your weekly remainder of how much I hate you because because of you, my wife is dead. My wife was a wonderful woman, and you have taken her from me. I hope you suffer as much as I have. Arthur Devons. I want to meet Arthur Devons so much right now. It's the only thing I can think about. No, just kidding. I'm thinking about, like... Well, the first thing that comes to mind is this terrible thing that I've done.
I might get wet down there.
Look, I spent too much time putting it together. I'm going to fire it off randomly whenever I want to, because it's my stream, and you can't stop me from doing it as much as you think you can.
I have some questions for you if you're up to answering them, Mrs. Harris.
I'll try my best, Mr. Fordham.
No.
I found this note in your bedroom. What can you tell me about
I don't
it?
need a map to get to Bonetown.
I'm really happy for you, Haggis. I'm glad that you don't need that map to get to Bonetown. Some people do, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I, for one, don't need a map to get to Bonetown.
I've never seen that note before in my life.
Well, that's not great news. Or she's lying, or maybe it's both.
Are you absolutely sure?
Mr. Fordham, you mentioned you valued discretion. I ask you to please exercise some now.
Alright, I guess I can do some jumping jacks of discretion, but I don't know what that actually means.
Would it be possible to speak about this in private? In another room, perhaps?
Out of the question, Mr. Fordham. I shall not leave this sitting room in the company of another man if my husband is not present.
So you really don't care what happens to your baby? That, like, I know what we're doing here is that, like, oh, it's improper, like, we're in steampunk Victorian times, and so, like, we have a different code of conduct, and, like, women shouldn't be alone with men, etc., etc. But, like, I'm asking because this feels relevant to the investigation of your baby, who was baby-napped. So, like, it feels like refusing to answer this is either A, suspicious, or B, like, just kind of cold, like, dang.
Yes, I understand. Let's put the subject on hold for now.
So is the notion that I have to do something to get rid of him, and it can't be the gambling thing because I goofed up the order of operations?
What a life these rich people lead. All the money in the world, and they're trapped like rats.
Rats in
That's
a
all for
trap.
now, Mrs. Harris.
Very well.
I have some questions for you, Mr. Harris.
Yes, of course.
Angry
I
letter.
found this letter in your bedroom. What can you tell me about it?
You went through our things?
I super much did. I'm very creepy.
I'm a private investigator, Mr. Harris. It's part of my job.
Of all the insolence!
You're upset, I know, but do you want me to find your son, or don't you?
I mean, this is more or less the point I was just making.
Yes, of course I do. That letter was sent to me by mistake. It was written to my father. Well, if you can even call that writing.
Have I ever mentioned how much I hate rich people? Because I really hate rich people.
Like, is this... Real talk. Is it supposed to be, like, clever or funny? This is, like, the lowest hanging fruit of trying to depict that a character doesn't like rich people. Is for them to just, every time we talk to a rich person, be like, gosh, I don't like rich people.
Your father. Doesn't he own the company building the new airship?
Yes, that's right. He's been receiving many letters just like that one since the Lygia disaster.
Oh, dear. Wait, what happened to poor Lugia?
That Devons fellow in particular has sent one every week, along with a bag of chicken bones and dust.
Oh, that's bad. Are we circling back around to voodoo time?
Peculiar.
Not only that, he leads a daily protest in front of the construction yard where the HMS Lenore is being built, trying to halt production.
It's a potential ransom motive.
My God! How did I not see this before?
See what?
Devons! He has a grudge against this family because of what happened with the Lygia. I'd put money on him being involved with the kidnapping somehow, as a form of retaliation.
I'll just have to speak with Mr. Devins and see for myself.
Okay, I guess I'll do that. Quoth the Raven, HMS Lenore.
How goes the construction of the new airship?
There have been some complications, but nothing we can't handle.
Could you be a bit more specific?
Well, we just keep turning the blimp off and on again, and it's fine.
Well, I already told you about the trouble with protesters at the yard.
Oh, hey, wait, I forgot something. I think when I was playing this before, I moved myself in the corner, didn't I? Because, like, then you could, like, see what's going on there. Select me getting that back where I want that next time. That's future Vasco's problem. And he knows how to do it, he's just lazy.
And we're blocked pending Royal Maverick's review of the safety regulations for the prototype etheric diffusion engines.
That sounds dangerous.
Agitators and red tape aside, we should still be on schedule to have the Lenore finished and in the air by the end of the year. But really, Mr. Fordham, what the deuce does this have to do with finding Charles?
What the deuce?
He has a point, you know.
Those are all the questions I had for now.
All right.
It's
Tea?
nice to see that tea is still served here even in times of tragedy.
Okay, I'm gonna go. World was almost destroyed due to the legendary birds, but then a girl played in Ocarina and Lugia restored peace. Then there was a whole movie about the Lugia disaster. Yeah, I'll be honest, I haven't kept up with the Pokemon anime in a long time, although I, of course, have seen every human being on Earth respond to the news of Ash winning the Master 8 tournament. Like, news sites are reporting on it, like social media is. And my favorite comment that I saw this morning was that, like, Ash Ketchum just became, like, every manager's dream. A 10-year-old with 25 years of experience. And I was like, hot dang, that's a good take. That's such a good burn.
And so
all right, this isn't going well.
And his cronies? No, we will not stand for this. Too many have died to allow this to continue. Steam tech must be stopped.
Rhubarb! Rhubarb!
The time has come to reject steam machines. They take our jobs, they take our families.
Well, someone certainly wasn't shy about making their opinion known. I suddenly remembered a joke. What's the difference between the HMS Lenore and Chief Snelling? One is a greatly disliked and untrustworthy sack of hot air, and the other is the HMS Lenore.
We won't stand.
But the way this gate is set up, I think trespassers should get an award for being able to breach the fortress. Elect Hart Leroy, the man of the people. I think that's preaching to the choir around here. Now that is an impressive piece of machinery.
That doesn't seem to match what we're looking at all.
These people have jobs they need to go to. Don't these people...
Alright, let's talk to the leader.
Pardon me, are you Arthur Devins by any chance?
Yes. Who are you?
I'm glad there's an apostrophe in that word.
Miles Fordham, private investigator. Could I ask you a few questions?
Guess so, yeah.
Way too much ambient noise here. Let's start with, like, neutral questions.
You seem very dedicated to your cause.
I'll take that as a compliment, Mr. Fordham.
There's quite a lot of people who are against steam tech, aren't there?
Yes, the movement is gaining ground and growing rapidly, I'm pleased to say.
I've heard stories about some more extreme members. Do you know anything about that?
Only thing scarier than ghosts, scabs, sickburn also.
You mean Redites? Sure, I've heard of them. Even met a few.
Oh yeah, I forgot that, like, the Redditors were the ones who, like, didn't want science to advance in this world.
But if you think I'm telling you anything else beyond that, you're sorely mistaken.
Are you a member of the Redites, Mr. Devins?
No. I prefer more peaceful methods of making my voice heard. Now, if you don't mind, I think we should drop the subject.
Tell me about the protest.
Why are you out here protesting?
Because what Harris Construction is doing ain't right. I lost my wife in the Lygia crash, and I'm not the only one, neither.
Several people lost your wife in that crash? I choose this guy's wife too.
Hundreds of people were affected by that disaster, and now these bastards are making another airship. It's like a slap in the face to everyone who died. I just can't understand it.
What do you hope to accomplish by protesting?
Simple. We want construction of the Noire stopped and a full investigation into the Lygia disaster. Not only that, we want compensation for our losses. Royal Maverick took care of all the families of those on board, but the families of the ones in the park didn't get a single copper. It just isn't fair. We aim to make things right. After that, it'll just be a matter of time before people realize that there's no future in steam tech, and they'll call the whole thing off.
Ah, the innocence of the downtrodden. I wish I could be as naive as them. It would have made my life a lot easier.
Tell me about your wife.
You must have loved your wife very much.
Are you joking? I loved her more than there are stars in the sky. She was my whole world, Mr. Fordham, the light of my life. It's been nothing but cold and dark since she was killed. You're married, aren't you, Mr. Fordham? I see a ring on your finger.
I rarely see a man say that to another man.
I am, yes.
Then take my advice. Appreciate every moment you have with her. You never know when she'll be ripped out of your life, leaving you with nothing.
I'm certain that's not foreshadowing at all.
You know, this fellow was actually pretty wise. Maybe we misjudged him.
We? You're the only one judging anyone, clown.
Does this piece of fabric look familiar to you?
Looks like it came from some fancy jacket. The type you'd expect to see on the snobs in Leon. I could never afford clothes like that in a million years.
Alright, now ask him about the letter. I wanted to leave it for later in case he just got mad and made me go away.
You recognize this letter, Mr. Devins?
How'd you get that? That wasn't meant for you.
I found it at the home of Mr. Malcolm Harris. He tells me you've been sending quite a few of these to his father.
Me and everyone else would had someone killed by that devil machine. I'm not the only one, you know.
Yeah, I hear one or two people in the background.
Perhaps not, but he told me you were the most persistent.
Oh, suddenly I have lots of questions.
What have you got against the Harris family?
Family? Don't know nothing about the family. The only one I got a problem with is Clyde Harris, the one who owns this yard. He's just like all those other rich bastards with their heads in the clouds. The man don't care about the dead. He just wants to make as much money as he can. I'm just trying to make him realize how wrong he is.
Nico says, if our wife dies, Miles can't miss her because she'll just haunt him. Wouldn't that be actually kind of wild? Is like a game with some kind of premise like this, but like instead of it being like mandatory that your partner dies in the first case, like any characters that die like haunt you for the rest of the game. That sounds like something you might see in like the Unavowed sequel. I mean, there's already like a guy who communes with ghosts in that.
Do you know anything about the kidnapping of Charles Harris?
Charles Harris? Who's that?
Clyde Harris's grandson.
I didn't even know we had a grandson. I can't believe someone with a grandkid, a family, would want more flying death in the air. How many more people have to die before someone realizes that steam machines are evil?
I completely agree, Haggis. Also, it would be like that level of Metal Gear Solid 3, but the whole game. Yeah, for sure. I always thought that was really cool, too. The one where, like, any characters that you've killed, like, come back and, like, haunt you and, like, make that portion of the game take a really long time.
People will kill their own mams for a crown these days.
I'm sorry, mams? What part of New York leans do people say mams? Bones and dust!
Mr. Harris told me you send a bag of chicken bones and dust along with your letters. Why is that?
Chicken bones? Dust? Nah, that's not right. I've only sent letters.
Are you certain of that?
Yes, as sure as I'm standing here.
Are you certain you didn't send dust and chicken bones to a man through the mail?
Right. And I'm the queen. I get the feeling this guy will crack if we figure out what the significance of his little gift is.
I'm totally convinced of that. I'll ask about the button, but I know it's a red herring.
You recognize this button?
Can't say I do. but it looks handmade. I wonder how long it will be before the poor soul who crafted that button gets booted into the street, replaced with some steam-belching contraption.
Good day to you, Mr. Devins.
You too, Mr. Fordham.
I must leave as quickly as humanly possible. What a bad screen that is. What do you think that is? Sound? Let's notch sound down a little bit. Not that I plan on going back there right away. What have I learned that matters? The fabric is like a lead, but I don't really have enough information to do anything about it. The button's a lead, but I need to be able to get into Ghost Club to do anything about it. This is not a lead because I used the latest save game. Status that she was drinking tea in the living room and then got drugged. Yeah. How do I investigate that, though? Documents. This is just getting the case. This is something the wife did she won't tell me about, and this is what we just investigated. Huh. I'm at a little bit of an impasse here, huh? Oh, I have a to-do list. Learn about Linda Walker at the Spectre Society. Yeah, kind of. Investigate Solomon's stitching? What else is there to learn about Solomon's stitching right now? It's also kind of a shame I can't go back to the Voodoo Club. I feel like they could tell me something about the chicken bones and dust. Maybe if I, like, recap the case
We haven't anything to discuss right now, Fordham. Come back when you've...
Okay, never mind. Just kidding. Got you all so good. You totally believed that I was hoping to get information there to advance the game, but no, that was a big goof the whole time. Alright, the game wants me to think there's still something to do here. I feel like...
Darn.
I feel like now isn't the time, like I need something else before that's true, but I'm still gonna spend a minute here, cause I currently ain't got nothing, which is a bit of a problem.
This guy has been in business forever. Impressive collection of pattern books.
Are those like coloring books for people who
I wish I'd known about this guy when I was alive. I'd have asked him to make me a suit for my funeral.
You probably wouldn't have done that. I don't think most people have the foresight to do that sort of thing.
I think we've gotten all we can from him. Come to think of it, I have seen plenty of people wearing that design. No tears in this one, though.
What am I doing? Oh, that was like an idle animation? I thought I was like gonna go steal it or something. I was like very suspiciously like looked around. Yeah, I don't think there's actually anything else to do here right now. And yet the game considers this like a lead I haven't done like diligence on. I'm in danger. Does my wife know things? Will my wife tell me the name of that?
It's always nice to see you walk through that door.
Will she tell me the name of that person who? Oh,
let her read in peace.
Okay. Guess she won't help me either.
It's admirable just how organized Adelaide is. Maybe someday the same can be said about you.
I put on Bill's hat.
Should have let me be buried wearing my hat. At least it wouldn't be gathering dust like it is now.
If I'd done that, it would be dust right now.
Heh, fair point.
Sure, that's actually true. I feel like the hat might last longer than... I think it's implied that this is like less than a year later.
Well, when you say it's time for a change of clothes, Miles, you've been wearing that coat for who knows how long.
So? Addie gave it to me. Besides, it gives me character.
Right. Brooding detective in a long black coat. That's never been seen before.
What are you talking about, Bill?
Ghost of our partner, have you seen movies from the afterlife?
Never mind. Pretty, but I'm glad I don't have a sense of smell anymore.
Weird thing to say, my guy.
That's a fun little apparatus.
Watching it spin long enough puts me right to sleep.
I'd say that's really more the soporifics doing.
Newspaper? News papier? I don't think I... Yeah, this is the last case on the left here, I think. This might be relevant. The airship yard? The public unrest after the disaster of the HMS Lugia shows no sign of slowing as protesters continue to line up outside the gate of the Harris Construction Airship Yard, currently in the process of building the Lugia's sister ship, the Gigantic. Harris Construction took out the contract several months before Lugia crashed. Clyde Harris, owner of Harris Construction, said, while Lugia disaster was most unfortunate, it should not be taken as any indication that steam technology is in any way dangerous. The fact remains that airships are among the safest means of transportation. To halt the construction of the Lenore would symbolize a setback not only to our cultural prosperity, but to New Britannia's financial prosperity as well. Harris, long criticized for his apparent, continued on page 8. Alright, maybe not useful after all.
I'd love to see the look on Snelling's face if he ever found out you kept your old truncheon. It's been so long since you used that desk. Did you even notice when Adelaide got rid of the chair?
Rude. What a rude man lives in my head.
That makes me wonder what old Mrs. Handbrook is up to these days.
I shouldn't be gone.
I should be gone for a really long time because I don't know what to do. Feels like whatever I'm missing has to be here.
Oh, Mr. Fordham. Oh, thank God you're back.
Thank God the game is gonna tell me what to do, I guess.
What's going on?
Our butler just brought this in. He found it stuck to the gate outside.
Neener boo boo. Got your toddler's poo poo? That's not a good ransom note. Harris family, we have your son. If you ever want to see him again, you must stop building the no airship. We are not joking. No, I'm a little suspicious of this. This feels like a frame job to me. Like, that other note has such a distinctive way of writing. It seems like extremely obvious that you'd get caught when they know that you sent the other note. One thing I would love to be able to do that I doubt this game will let me do is, like, directly compare the exact text of both notes. I wonder if there's something that's, like, spelled correctly in one and not in the other that indicates that, like, not the same person did it. Is there a way I might do that? Okay. Your is spelled differently between the two of them. That's a little interesting. If there's anything to be gained, I think it's that. I think it's that your is spelled differently in both of them, which feels to me like a possible hint that this is a frame job, but it would tell us that if we accept that as true, then the person who wrote this ransom note is aware of Arthur Devon's, or at the very least has knowledge about specifically the, like, threatening letters that he's sending. Which should narrow down a pool of candidates pretty considerably, I would think. Almost makes me wonder if someone within the family is somehow involved, because people in the family would probably know about those letters.
I have some questions for you, Mr. Harris.
Yes, of course.
Ransom.
What is your opinion of this ransom note?
It's obvious who sent it, Mr. Fordham. Why are you wasting your time here? Go arrest Mr. Devons!
Those are all the questions I had for now.
That sure makes me seem like an idiot. So, this here ransom note. Devons did it! Go arrest him! Alright, I should go.
Alright.
I have some questions for you if you're up to answering them, Mrs. Harris.
I'll try my best, Mr. Fordham.
Ransom note.
Did you read the ransom note?
No, Malcolm wouldn't let me. He said I was already too upset.
Well, if you really want to get upset, why don't you read this ransom note?
That's all for now, Mrs. Harris.
Very well.
Huh, that's a very... The phrasing of that question and the answer are both very specific. It suggests that if she knew the contents of the letter, she would have a reaction to it. Is it possible that the father guy, whose name I definitely remember, like, just wanted to frame Arthur Devons? It doesn't make a ton of sense, because if he just did that because he wanted Devons out of the picture or whatever, then there's no guarantee he'd get the kid back, unless the whole thing is a ruse to try and get him in jail, which feels convoluted. Those are all the one question I have for you. Yeah, that's adventure games for you. I do still have questions about his gambling that I'm not allowed to ask anymore because I thought I was being clever, and then the game punished me, which is entirely fair. I'm gonna keep mentioning it because it's interesting to me, and maybe on some level I'm salty, but it is pretty fair.
Nothing else of note in any of the drawers.
Oh, well, at least we got to play a rousing game of Search the Rich People's Dresser.
God, it's tiresome how much he dislikes rich people. I don't, like, particularly like rich people, but, like, I just am exhausted listening to him talk about it.
Nothing else hidden among the clothes. Too bad. One thing is for certain. Mr. Harris is coming.
I'm gonna check, like, the hitbox of each individual coat real quick.
Mr. Harris.
Mr. Harris. Hello, a cake cat. Oh, that's a great name. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? We're playing a steampunk mystery game. I hope you're enjoying this alternative 19th century. So far, I am. I have some opinions on some of the characters, but I'm really interested in this world. Have you played the game before, Kit Kat? I keep getting stuck on this case. I think it's because of that gambling problem, which means something different in this context than it normally does.
Bear's picnic. Something about a group of giant human-like bears eating together in the woods is slightly unsettling.
Some part of me feels like I should be able to get more information from this room. I don't think I will.
My friend Bunny. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want a giant imaginary rabbit for a friend.
I definitely would. This is one of your favorite games. Oh, cool. Thank you for joining. I for one, like to do that as well. Just, like, search up a game that I haven't played in a while that I really like and then watch it. I've done that a few times for Heavy Rain, which I know is a bit of a hot take, but that game means a lot to me.
Nice view of the garden from up here.
I do like these giant stuffed animals. Wish I could have them, but I do have many. They're on the couch behind me. It says, the worst part of this game is that you can't use a knife on partner because he's already dead. I mean, I share your disappointment in that, but let's be honest, a lot of these games won't let you use knife on people to solve problems, even if you have knife and living person. What does the game want me to do? Like, go talk to the guy and have him say he didn't do it? And how do I get into the stupid spirit club?
Oh, hello again. How may I help you?
You know, the last time I was here, I went straight to, like, trying to get into the club. I don't think I actually tried asking questions. Maybe I can get something this way.
Hello, ma'am. My name's Miles Fordham, and I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Are you with the police?
No, I'm a private investigator.
I'm terribly sorry, darling, but I simply don't have the time right now.
All right, that didn't work.
Perhaps if you come back next week, I'll be able to answer your questions then.
I don't have it. There's part of me that wants to try this, but I know I don't have a new name.
I just realized this is the wrong house. Sorry.
A man can dream, and I bet he would so use the knife on him. For sure.
Well, then, I wish
Definitely.
you luck in finding the right one, darling.
Maybe I just like kick in their window and I'm like, I'm in the club now. Everybody getting tipsy.
Too dark to tell what's inside. They must enjoy the somber atmosphere.
Anything with like the street sign or
I wouldn't like to have a street lamp right outside my window. Not without a good set of thick curtains, anyway.
Darn. You know, I'm really stuck at the moment. I'm not so stuck that I'm ready to go hunting for walkthrough stuff. Let's go try talking to the guy again. He'll obviously deny it. I don't know if he'll tell me anything useful.
Mr. Devons?
Yes?
Ransom note.
Mr. Devons, what can you tell me about this note?
I've never seen that before in my life.
Are you sure about that?
Absolutely. It's as I told you. I had nothing to do with that boy's kidnapping. I didn't even know he existed until you told me. Remember?
And that note conveniently showed up right after you had that conversation.
I mean, that's true. So is Bill suggesting it's a false flag and he's trying to take credit for kidnapping the baby to use it as leverage even though he doesn't know? I guess that could be true
Let
too.
him stew in his own lines. His unique way of spelling is all the evidence we need to tie him to the note.
Very well, Mr. Devons. Forget I asked. Good day to you, Mr.
You too.
I still say it's suspicious that one of the words is spelled differently between the two letters. I'm not ready to say that that guy sent it, but that is an interesting suggestion. That maybe he's just trying to use the situation to, like, further his agenda of stopping the airships. That's one thing I have found that this game does pretty well so far, is, like, leave things, like, just open-ended enough that there are multiple interpretations without the game, like, spelling them all out. Sometimes if you fail a conversation task, you can still learn information instead. I've gotten the impression that's true, and I've also gotten the impression that there are multiple leads to find certain important pieces of information. The last time I played this game, which was like a little over a month ago, I think, I was kind of like goofing around. I wasn't sure if I was going to keep playing, and like I found a lead about the father in this case, that like he had like gambling debts or something. And, like, he was like, look, let's talk about this in another room. And then I was like, haha, I'm a clown. I'm going to leave and go talk to someone else. And when I came back, he's like, I will no longer talk to you about this. And I was like, oh. Well, now I've learned a thing about this game. Let's go to the coffee house. Do you even know how to get a sponsor? I know that if I know the name of, like, a dead person of significance, I can pitch them as a sponsor. I suppose that I could find out someone who has a prominent place in the organization and use knife on them, and then ask them to let me in, but I don't think they'll be inclined to do it.
We haven't anything to discuss right now, Fordham.
Okay, she still doesn't want to talk, even though I kind of have, like, a promising suspect in theory. I'm in a tricky situation here because it's not simply that I don't know the right way to get to, like, the true answer. It's also that I don't really know, like, just, like, what actually to do to, like, advance stuff. So, like, I know that the fabric is connected to the Solomon Tailor shop, but that doesn't seem really helpful without context because it sounds relatively common. The button I know is tied to a bear, which is tied to some weird lady from the Ghost Club, but I haven't been able to get in yet. This I don't think I can do anything with, because I goofed. And then I don't know how to investigate, like, the drugging? Really, the game still doesn't consider that guy a suspect despite the fact that the ransom note was written in the same way that he writes his other angry letters. Can I use knife on that lady? Regrettably, I don't actually have knife right now, which makes it even more complicated to use knife to solve problems. But I really want to stress that it feels noteworthy to me that the spelling of "your" in the first line of both of these sentences or in both of these notes is different. I feel like there's more than meets the eye to this, but at the same time, I have no idea how to, like, Investigate. I have a suspicion that Arthur Devon's so-called gift is like voodoo related because we did mention that it has like a presence in the city in the first case, but I can't just like freely go back there. Like the leads I have to investigate all feel like they're at a dead end. So like what do I do to advance from there? Revisit everything? Is you're the new bust? Well, no, because that's just, like, not spelling good. Bust was frustrating because, like, they kept trying to, like, act like it was a way that people use the word bust in Darkside Detective, and they were just lying about it.
I'll let you know if I...
All right.
Can I rummage around in her
Another
stuff?
Harris hand-me-down, no doubt. You'd think they would have washed it first.
Sad no knife noises. This is common for me.
Seems like that boiler's the only thing in here that's less than 10 years old. My mother had a pewter teapot as well. Always made the tea taste funny.
Is there something I'm supposed to gather? We have reason to suspect maybe she was drugged from these. I don't actually remember if I observed them before, but it doesn't look like there's much to be gained by simply looking at them. And you don't really have like a traditional inventory in this game.
Seems like that boiler's... My mother had a...
Now that I've looked at them, can I ask her about
I'll let you know if I...
All right.
No. Can I look at all of the paintings in this room that I don't think I've done?
Boy taking a nap under a tree while his dog runs around in the distance. That brings back some good memories. Pretty distinguished-looking gentleman. Handsome. Good fashion sense. Wonder who he is. Her Majesty Queen Jessica. This was clearly painted a long time ago. Painting of a misty forest with a cemetery in the background. Cheery stuff. Painting of a tower on a Scottish moor. I wish I'd been able to make it over there. This looks like a mourning portrait of a young woman. Probably a relative of Mrs. Davis. It's a spirit reaching out to a very frightened man. Possibly the fakest looking photo I've ever seen.
How would they have, like, photo doctoring technology in this
I have some questions for you, Mrs. Davis.
Aha! Looking around at photos did something! I'm so good at adventure games. Shut up, everyone who knows better than to agree with that. Although we should thank you for gifting us up to Cake Cat. And the stupid notifications are still broken. Ah, there it is. Awesome. Hey, Cake Cat, enjoy this. I don't get to use it enough.
All right.
That's a
Portrait.
lovely portrait. Who is it of?
That is my late husband, Jonathan. He used to attend meetings of the Spectre Society with me, bless him.
Get dumpstered video game.
I tried to get him to be more in tune with the other side, but I think he was just humoring me. He was a good man. Everyone at the Society cared for him very much.
I am, like, way more smug about this than I should be. This is really basic stuff, and I probably should have gotten to this an hour ago, but, like, I feel pleased with myself. It's something that, like, has been consistent in this game. Like, even though, like, it's a little trickier than, like, some of the adventure games I'm actually good at. But, like, I feel really, like, accomplished when I, like, do stuff in this game. Like, me so far, I loved that. That was one of my favorite, like, stream moments of this whole year was me so far.
Thank you for your time, Mrs. Davis.
Oh, you're very welcome.
All right.
I'll be going now, Mrs.
May this...
Jonathan Davis. Didn't he write Garfield or something? Ghost Club. I know the actual answer to that.
Oh, hello again.
How may I help you? Jonathan Davis! I mean, hi.
I'd like to name a new sponsor.
Yes, of course. Who is your new sponsor?
It's Jonathan Davis.
Jonathan Davis is my sponsor.
You knew Jonathan? He was such a kind man.
Yeah, we go way back to, like, before he was a ghost.
Yes, I can feel his presence.
And he speaks positively of you. Oh, get wrecked, Ghost Club.
Please, come in, Mr. Fordham. I am Angela Maxwell, the founder of the Spectre Society. Welcome.
Jason.
May I offer you some refreshments? Some
Is this
water
just-
or tea, perhaps?
Is this just the twins from The Shining right here? Is that what I'm looking at?
You're very kind, but I'm afraid I must decline right now.
It's possible you drugged Mrs. Davis. I don't know.
Well, please let me know if you change your mind.
Won't you look at this place? It's like a candy store for psychics. Those are some creepy twin girls. I could see a passing resemblance to Miss Maxwell, actually.
Ooh, is this a logbook? This could have useful information. Can I have it? Let me steal it.
There's quite a few members in this group.
Oh, Linda Walker. She's the one we're looking for, right? She gave the bear to the baby, to Charles or whatever? Nope, it just goes
There's
away.
quite
It
a
doesn't
few-
actually look at it. Linda, looking forward to having you over at the Manor next week. Come around 8 p.m. and you can meet Charlie. Henrietta. Huh. So Henrietta's probably the... No, wait, what? Oh, Henrietta's the nanny. Okay. There's definitely something suspicious about that. Can't wait for your partner to tear her a new one. Yeah, I'm sure she's not gonna... Or he's not gonna like her. They're not gonna get along.
I might get wet down there.
Demolition is having fun with the swear jar. I think that's my personal favorite right now, only because it's just so bad. It's so bad. Since you're new here, Cake Cat, one of my favorite things to do to set my stream apart is just jam all possible avenues with interactive sound effects and things, mostly from video games that we've played on the channel. Yeah, that's your new sub badge. Is a friend Narwhal. It's sort of my... Hang on.
Me gustan las tetas grandes.
It's kind of my thing.
Forever.
Oh, that's the first time I think anyone's ever managed to redeem sound effects in a round. That's pretty impressive. But yeah, Narwhals are like kind of my jam, baby.
The plaque says Leonora Pattinson, seer. She looks like someone I would not want to fool around with.
I see a Ouija board. Can I have it?
I think I've seen one of these before. What does it do?
It's a spirit board. We use it to contact spirits, and they in turn spell out a message with the letters on the board.
Well, I've got a message from Miss Maxwell if she ever tries to use a spirit board around me.
Yikes forever.
Is the message yikes forever? It's actually a pretty reasonable message to send from the other side.
That's probably the storage case for the spirit board. Ooh, spooky. That ghost between the two people almost manages to look convincing.
What a fascinating device. Exactly what does it do?
Makes julienne fries.
That is an etherometer. It's designed to pick up vibrations from the ether and translate messages from the spirits.
You are correct, Cake Cat. That is from Little Misfortune. I just played that for the first time on stream as my Halloween special this year, and man, I loved that game. Yeah, it is pretty weird that our definite, like, factual ghost partner doesn't believe in ghosts. I think I would have less issue with that if he didn't believe in, like, other supernatural things. Like, if he had been a skeptic all his life and then was like, fine, I guess ghosts exist, but, like, etc., etc. Like, what does he think he is? What does he think he is?
A great man once said to me, Bill, you aren't going to get very far in life just staring at balls.
I hope he means his face.
He's dead now. But then again, so am I.
Have I played Fran Bro? No, I have not, actually. Little Misfortune was...
I was talking about wieners.
He was talking about wieners, to be fair. Yeah, a member of the community just recommended Little Misfortune and just sort of dove into that. I know that there's some elements in that game that come directly from Frambo. Ain't no more rent now. That's a good life if you can get it. Even if it's an afterlife or something. Ooh, books. Members are free to borrow books as long as you check with me first. The lady on the couch. Okay, I just opened a whole book. We're playing Myst now. Astral projection refers to a willful out-of-body experience in which the soul or astral body disconnects from the physical body and may travel throughout the universe. The practice dates as far back as ancient civilizations, with multiple depictions by the Egyptians of the soul, or Ka, leaving the body before death. The expression astral projection means journeying to other worlds, heavens, hells, the astrological spheres, and other imaginal landscapes. But the term is also applied to non-physical travel around the physical world. Though this usage continues to be widespread, the term etheric travel, used by some later theosophists, offers a useful distinction. Some experience say they visit different times and/or places. Etheric, then, is used to represent the sense of being out of body in the physical world, whereas astral may connote some alteration in time perception. The etheric body is usually, though not always, invisible, but is often perceived by the experient as connected to the physical body during separation by a silver cord. Some link falling dreams with projection. Other experience may describe a domain that has no parallel to any known physical setting. Environments may be populated or unpopulated, artificial, natural, or abstract, and the experience may be beatific, horrific, or neutral. A common theosophical belief is that one may access a compendium of mystical knowledge known as the Akashic Accords. In many accounts, the experiencer correlates the astral world with the world of dreams. Some even report seeing other dreamers enacting dream scenarios unaware of their wider environment. Now that one looks different than other books. Several of these look like they're part of a collection here. Does it want me to read all of these? I don't know if I want to read all of these. I'm a little interested in this. The game seems to be hinting I might need to do something with the spirit board. Conducting a seance is not a matter to be taken lightly. When making attempts to contact those in the spirit realm, many precautions must be observed. The spirit medium must be in a relaxed state prior to commencing the seance. This can be achieved through meditation, prayer, or medicinal means. An agitated medium will have an extremely negative impact on the quality of the seance, and may even attract violent spirits during the seance. The medium will act as a vessel for spirits and pass on messages from the deceased. In some instances, a spirit board may be used. These are flat tablets, typically made of wood. On the board, there are a number of symbols, pictures, letters, numbers, and/or words. The board is accompanied by a planchette, French for a little board, which can take the form of a pointer on 3 legs or a magnifying glass on legs. A most basic spirit board would contain simply an alphabet of whatever country the board is being used in, although this is not uncommon for whole words to be added. The board is used as follows. One to all of the participants in the seance. Oh, one to all of them. That's really weirdly written. Place 1 or 2 fingers on the planchette or little board, which is in the middle of the big board. The appointed medium asks questions of the spirits with whom they are attempting to communicate. I feel like just when that was starting to explain anything worthwhile, it was done. And yes, we definitely pictured an egg in there in the process of understanding how that worked. This looks like another seance-y type thing. Communication with the spirit realm is most often achieved via the help of a medium. A fairly common practice employed to communicate with the dead is the seance, in which the medium tries to establish contact with the dead in the presence of a small to medium-sized group of people. The general opinion is that the greater amount of energy provided by living beings will establish a stronger connection to the spirit world. A medium is someone who can speak to the dead. 2 types exist, mental and physical. The mental medium tunes into the spirit world and relays messages by sensing or seeing spirits. The physical medium is able to produce manifestations of spirits, apparitions, knocks, rings, bell rings, etc. by using ectoplasm created by their bodies and the bodies of seance attendees. Ew. No one is exactly sure how the ability of mediumship is attained. I'm sure there's a licensing process. Some claim to have it from birth, while others attribute it to near death or other traumatic experiences. Whether a medium can see spirits or only hear them depends greatly on their level of skill. Yeah, experience points are really important to this process. As well as their natural attunement to the spirit realm. Some mediums claim that an increase of this attunement is possible through practice and study, while others insist that it cannot be taught and is something that is either possessed or not. Illustration of, like, totally a real ghost and a guy who's not a mummy or anything, I promise. So that one I looked at. This one's got a squid in it. I might look at that. What is... Oh, gris-gris. This is a voodoo book. This might talk about chicken bones. The religious practices commonly known as voodoo originated in Africa, but have seen a migration in recent years. First moving to the West Indies, it spread after a revolt in Santo Domingo caused a wave of escaped and freed slaves to migrate to Vespuccia. It is so weird how this game interchanges, like, real and fictional geography, and I'm terrible at geography to begin with, so, like... For years, the religion was practiced in secret, but emerged as a more widely accepted faith after the abolition of slavery in 1840. The largest concentration of practitioners of voodoo is the city of New Britannia. So, is it New Orleans? What is this city? Particularly the borough of Gascogne. Gascogne? Though it is at its roots an African religion, voodoo has evolved in New Britannia, heavily influenced by Catholicism. New Britannia voodoo has adopted several Catholic saints and turned into a hybrid religion unique to the city. That all sounds very New Orleans. One key factor which sets voodoo apart is the use of charms or amulets of various functions and purposes, commonly known as gris-gris. Gris-gris also originated in Africa, used mainly as means to ward off evil spirits and bad luck. However, they've taken a darker connotation in the voodoo practices of New Britannia and can also be used to bring misfortune and suffering. The basic gris-gris is always contained in a leather pouch. The ingredients vary depending on the desired effects. For instance, a gris-gris designed to bring a gambler luck would contain chamois, red flannel, a shark's tooth, and dove's blood. A gris-gris for sending away an enemy contains items like gunpowder or red pepper. Usually the person's name is written on paper and included in the bag. To bring someone bad luck in business, the gris-gris would contain chicken bones and graveyard dust. Bam! Blammo! Good at games, VascoDaGamer. Pew pew pew. Just showing off all the nonsense I've set up for stream and having, like, a good time. Gascoigne is a boss in Bloodborne. I feel like it's a real name. I don't know if it's, like, a real place. Chicken bones aren't bad luck. You can make a nice stock. It's true. I am kind of a fan of chicken stock, to be honest. Once you're done fully playing the game, do listen to the audio commentary. Ooh, that's a good shout. It is somewhat effective. Thank you.
Chicken bones and dust for bad luck in business, huh?
Flagged the game.
That sounds awfully familiar.
Okay. The red. I'll come back to this later. Just want to skim these for stuff to come back to, and I'll just keep in mind, hopefully, that I can come back to the bookcase if I need anything else. Illustration of two men finding a victim in spontaneous human combustion. Oh man, I have like a story that's fun to me about spontaneous human combustion. So, like, you know how in, like, school, sometimes there'll be, like, a substitute teacher or just, like, a video day where, like, you don't have to do regular class or whatever, and it's very exciting? The one and only time in my life that I've watched something on Laserdisc, not DVD, but Laserdisc, was in, like, a middle school science class where we watched, like, a faux I think a legitimate documentary on spontaneous human combustion. And, like, boy, did it not amount to anything. The answer was resounding, maybe. The only regrets they had was ivy growing in trees in an area not being fully accurate based on the wind direction and facing sunlight. Woof, that is some real attention to detail, Cake Cat. Wow. I thought this was like a really like funny, stupid idea for like a sci-fi concept that I like pitched to Tech as a thing, and he thought it was like the literal dumbest thing he'd ever heard of and was like mad at me for it. But like, I had pitched to him the anti-catastrophic entropy drive, which is like a science fiction engine that powers a spaceship, and it draws power from like parallel universes in which things are spontaneously combusting, and it stops them from spontaneously combusting and instead channels that energy into driving the ship. Obviously, this idea is very stupid, but I thought it was stupid funny, and he thought it was just stupid. Spontaneous human combustion is a highly controversial subject, but remains popular among scholars and aficionados in the occult and unexplained. The term refers to death from a fire originating without any apparent source of external ignition. The fire is believed to start within the body of the victim. The 1823 book Medical Jurisprudence states that The commonalities in recorded cases of spontaneous human combustion include the following characteristics. Victims are chronic alcoholics, usually elderly females. Hands and feet usually fall off. That sounds wild. The fire has caused very little damage to things around the body. That actually I'm pretty sure is true. True in the sense of what I remember from that Laserdisc documentary. A residue of greasy and fetid ashes left behind, also consistent. Most physicians and investigators strongly believe the spontaneous human combustion is a product of alcoholism. Maybe this is the world's New Orleans. Like, it could be, but New Britannia feels like it's supposed to be New England just by the sound of it. Game City is heavily based on New Orleans. Okay, that's like worth knowing. But it seems strange to me. Like it just feels like a really weird name to pull when it sounds like that's supposed to be like New York or even like Philadelphia or something that's like in the like a major city in the realm of like New England. Secrets of Tarot, Spirits in the Eighth. All right, I'll come back to that. I could spend like the whole rest of the stream reading these like 2-page excerpts of things. Looked at this, looked at the shelf, looked at all this big foreground stuff that they like embellishing, which is kind of fun. Let's look at her tarot
I never
cards.
much cared for all that mystic stuff. Why should your life be dictated by a bunch of cards?
Man, this man would not appreciate Yu-Gi-Oh, which is an extremely essential cultural text of our time.
Could I ask you about some things, Miss Maxwell?
Certainly, darling.
I like her portrait. It makes the slightly confusing headdress element make more sense. Ghost Club.
What can you tell me about the Spectre Society?
Ah, where to begin? I formed this club 2 years ago, right after I moved to New Britannia. During our meetings, we discuss our experiences with paranormal phenomena and organize investigations.
What sort of investigations?
Chicken investigations. No, wait, that doesn't work here.
We look into places all around the city which have been reported as haunted. New Britannia is teeming with the spirits of those killed during the French and British takeovers of the city.
Interesting.
Not only that, but there is a prevalence of mystic religious practices here in Gascon, brought over by immigrants from the Antilles.
Just Gascon, huh? I really thought that was pronounced Gascoigne for some reason.
Fascinating.
There are plenty of books on the subject over there in the bookcase, if you're interested in learning more.
Do you know anything about the kidnapping of Charles Harris?
I'm afraid I haven't heard anything about any kidnappings, darling.
I'm sure one of those ghosts knows something about something.
If you wish, I can commune with the spirits and see if I can help locate your missing person.
That won't be necessary, Miss Maxwell, though I appreciate the offer.
The person I'm actually asking about.
I spoke with Henrietta Davis, and she mentioned one of your other members, Linda Walker. Can you tell me anything about her?
Ah, Linda. Poor dear. Of all our members, she is the one I feel for the most.
Why is that?
She's had a tragic life, but I believe the Spectre Society has helped her greatly. Not only has she made a good friend in Henrietta, she's also dealt with her grief in a positive way. She has devoured my collection of books, educated herself on many subjects.
She regurgitated the ones that are remaining on the bookshelf, of course.
I would say she's become an expert on clairvoyance and metempsychosis.
I know what metempsychosis is, I probably should.
It's always nice to know that the club can help those who have suffered.
Do you see her often?
Yes, she comes by about once or twice a week.
Oh, that's a lot of Tell me about metempsychosis. I feel like I should know what this is.
I'm sorry, what was it you said? Madam Psy what?
Metempsychosis, darling. It's a philosophical term which comes from ancient Greece. It refers to the transmigration of the soul after death.
Is that anything like reincarnation?
Essentially, yes.
Okay. I don't think I have heard that name before. Because it's, ew, you read previously devoured books. I mean, they dried off. Maybe they washed them, like that weird priest from Glass Cannon podcast who he constantly washes his hands because he's concerned the book is dirty. Maybe they laundered the book. Is that a thing that happens?
There's a book on the subject over in the bookcase, which can tell you far more than I possibly could.
I mean, it's like 2 pages, so that's pretty impressive. Linda's address.
Do you know Linda Walker's address?
I'm afraid not, darling. Linda has always been somewhat private, and that's not something I consider to be crucial information.
There's something funny about adventure games where, like, you end up taking these, like, really roundabout routes to solve, like, really straightforward problems. I think in some ways playing these games, like, does actually help me consider, like, critical thinking in a different way, but at the same time, sometimes it's just, like, ludicrous. Like, I just want her address. I guess, like, the phone book doesn't exist because they don't have a steampunk phone yet. But, like, I literally just want her address, and so I was like, I'm gonna, like, bust into this club and, like, try and, like, literally, I think we did actually ask Henrietta if she knew her address, and she, like, didn't.
Do you know any way I can find her?
You could always come back for our next meeting. It will be the first Thursday of next month.
By then, we'll have completely lost track of Charles. There has to be another way of finding Linda.
Like a scrying spell?
What can you tell me about Linda and Henrietta's friendship?
It's so lovely to see them together at the meetings. They're practically inseparable. It's quite sweet. They often leave messages for each other in the guest book.
I noticed that.
When Linda found out that Henrietta was taking care of an infant,
yeah,
she
man,
even gave her a toy bear for the child.
Like, I don't know that she did it, but this feels super suspicious. She could have been involved for sure.
I remember Linda lighting up with excitement when she asked about him. She really loves children. It's such a terrible shame about...
Oh no, she has motive too? That looks really bad for her.
But please, let's discuss something more pleasant, shall we, darling?
Yeah, let's discuss something more pleasant. How about Linda's tragic past? That doesn't happen to be the thing you didn't want to talk about like 5 seconds ago, does it?
What's this tragic story about Linda you mentioned?
Oh, dear. I probably shouldn't say.
Ooh, this feels like it's important. I think you most definitely should. Knowing more about Linda could help me find a missing child. Are you afraid the spirits are gonna tell on you? That's the one that gets me kicked out of the club immediately, right? That's the button I press if I want that to happen. So, the middle one definitely seems most reasonable. The bottom one is obviously atrocious. I don't know why you would pick the top one. I mean, is it implied that I'm gonna, like, try and strong-arm her with my, like, quasi-police connections as, like, a private investigator? Or is it just me trying to, like, socially engineer her or something? I feel like the middle one's like a, what's the name for it? Like a plea to pathos or something? Like, I feel like the fact that she's already demonstrated that she cares about Linda's tragic past means that, like, she would care about the fate of this missing child if I put it to her that way?
Miss Maxwell, I'm going to be frank. I'm investigating a kidnapping, and Mrs. Walker is a person of interest. I need to know as much about her as possible to help me solve this case. Do I make myself clear?
It's a little more forceful than I was hoping that was, but I hope that she takes to this.
Well, if it will help.
Good.
Linda was married to a man named Thomas. Together, they had a son named Alexander. Thomas revealed himself to be a terribly cruel man. When he gave himself over to the drink, he would fly into rages and beat both Linda and the boy. One day, she came home to find both her son and husband dead.
My God, what happened?
The police ruled it a murder-suicide. Poisoning, apparently.
Oh, that's troubling. Because we have reason to suspect that Henrietta was drugged. So that suggests that maybe Linda, like, knows stuff about poison and, like, killed her husband, and maybe killing the son was an accident, but, like, maybe she was responsible for killing both of them. And then she used that same or similar knowledge to, like, use a lower grade of poison to knock out Henrietta and steal the new baby now that she has, like, the absence in her life from the tragic loss of her son.
Linda has been trying to make contact with Alexander's spirit for the past year or so, but has had no luck. It really is a terrible tragedy.
It is a tragedy. That's all it is. It's a tragedy. I got a clue. Tell me your likes and dislikes.
What made you decide to start up this club?
I wanted bottle service. Is that what we're doing?
I began communing with the spirits at a very early age. My twin sister, Rachel, died after falling into an icy pond when we were 8 years old.
Oh, so that picture of young twins that evil ghost Bill said looked kind of like her? That's like her and her sister, huh?
I'm very sorry, Miss Maxwell.
Oh, I appreciate your sympathy, darling, but don't feel too bad. Rachel began speaking to me shortly after that. She has served as my spirit guide ever since.
There is something weirdly comforting about that notion, that there's just, like, someone, like, always with you and, like, actually able to talk to you. It's kind of a nice thought.
Spirit guide? You mean you still speak with her?
Oh, yes. Every day. In fact, I was just speaking with her before you arrived.
She said you were a real hottie, but then pointed out the wedding ring.
As I grew older, I realized there were others in the world who were also able to communicate with spirits, and those who had an interest in what lies beyond the ether. And so, once I moved to New Britannia, I decided to start up this club so we could gather and share our experiences.
Well, thanks, Kit Kat, and thank you for stopping by. It's been fun having you here. I plan to play this game until I finish it, I think. We'll see. We'll evaluate over time, but I'm really into it. I'm
forever.
really enjoying it, so hopefully we'll catch you around here some other Saturday, maybe. And hope you find the baby. Yeah, good luck to me. Thanks for the yikes forever. And I assume the follow. I have the wrong window up. God, I'm a mess today. I'm just a real stinker. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. All right, let's bring up the window again.
Forever.
Yikes forever.
Do you suppose she can hear what I'm saying? Hey, Angela, try a bit less eyeshadow, would you? You look like a purple raccoon.
He's so hostile. Why is he so hostile? I find it really fascinating. Well, you know, I was gonna say that I feel like video games have a much stronger correlation to, like, unlikable protagonists that I don't think is intentional. But honestly, I think we're currently in an age where, like, television's doing that too. Like, I feel like it's been a minute since I've come across, like, a new show that comes out and has, like, characters that are likable and not cartoonish. I feel like lately everyone's just got these, like, real frustrating heroes who kind of suck. Like, I'm gonna reveal a hot take here. I haven't finished Andor, but I watched the first 3 episodes and I absolutely hate the protagonist. Like, not just like I don't relate to him, I think he sucks. And like everyone keeps saying that Andor's like the greatest thing since sliced bread. And like I feel like I'm gonna have to finish watching it at some point. But, like, I am not excited about it because I really hated those first 3 episodes. And I think everyone's, like, joshing me. I think it's some big elaborate joke to get me to watch 9 episodes. And somewhere in there, there's gonna be, like, a recording of some person that I really like calling me a doofus or something. We dropped frames at some point in this stream? When did that happen? Andor's the latest Star Wars show. It's on Disney+.
Nothing. Clearly a fraud. Ah, well.
See, again, it's super weird that he's very critical of ghosts, and yet he's also trying to use evidence of the fact that she's not listening to him right now to prove that she can't talk to ghosts. But even just making that inference implies that he accepts that he is a ghost, but he doesn't believe ghosts exist.
I was wondering.
Yes?
When you communicate with the spirits, are you able to stop?
This is actually a really good. For some reason it hadn't occurred to me to ask this, but this is very good character work for the main character and not Bill, who's not great.
If I wish them to leave me, yes. I bid them farewell, and they usually depart back into the ether.
What about the more persistent ones?
You do remember I'm right here, don't you?
Yeah, and like that's like the whole problem, my guy. Bill has like 0 chill and 0 self-awareness.
Well, just between you and me. Those spirits are best dealt with by having the other kind of spirits. Quiets them right down.
Sir, indeed.
I prefer soporific myself.
Oh? You hear the voices of the spirits as well, Mr. Fordham.
Just one really crappy one. He fell asleep and this is his fiance. And we're supposed to start off as a morally gray guy. Okay, but like here's my problem, and I don't want to go like super too far into this. Also, hi, Haggis' fiance. I hope you're well, and also I'm glad that you enjoy Code Lyoko. But like, here's what I like really don't like about Andor to begin with, is, and like this is all very early on, so it's like not really spoilers, but like brace yourselves. the main things I don't like are that like the inciting incident is that he like accidentally kills some like corrupt Empire guys. If he chooses to do that, I'm like more invested in his journey because it tells me something about him, that like he'll take a stand for what's right, and thus he's like a viable candidate for the rebellion, and like so then I'm like into it. But like he does it by accident and then like tries to like implicate like every single person that he knows. So, like, basically he just, like, threatens everyone's safety because he's scared of the consequences of his own accidental actions. So, like, all of that just, like, feels, like, tense for the wrong reason for me. And, like, also, like, secondly, and this is pretty important to me, he's not good at anything. Like, Cassian Andor, like, doesn't have skills. So I don't know why the rebellion would want to recruit him. He just seems like a liability. Like, he just accidentally killed a guy and then, like, almost got caught by, like, the Empire forces of, like, 2 joined sectors or something. Like, what's the selling point? I don't get it. Like, I don't get why I'm supposed to like him or be impressed by him or care about his journey. Like, that's my problem. Like, I have other issues, too. Like, I didn't like Rogue One, and it borrows a lot from Rogue One. But, like, trying to give it the benefit of the doubt, these are the things I really don't like after like 3 episodes.
But of course,
it's not
now the reason for your
it's not
visit
the
to
moral
Spectre
ambiguity.
Society is obvious.
Like, I don't really like I'm like, I love villain stories almost more than hero stories most of the time. So like I really don't care about moral ambiguity if it's done well and it's not like weirdly cartoonish. Oh, I'm sure it'll frustrate me, but like that's the like I at least want to know what it is that like everyone's like people will not shut up about Andor. And like I usually end up watching stuff like that to like understand like the cultural zeitgeist or whatever. Like honestly, that's how I ended up watching all like however many seasons of Game of Thrones you consider there to be. But I'm like really not interested in devoting more time to Game of Thrones prequel after how that ended, because I've scarcely hated an ending to something more than the HBO Game of Thrones show. Yeah, exactly, Demolition. The villain being good often means that they're, like, complex characters. And, like, that's really interesting to... Like, there's... Like, I don't necessarily recommend it outright, but the ABC show Once Upon a Time was such an amazing case study in, like, the way that, like, popular media depicts, like, heroes and villains. Because, like, in that show, the heroes are so boring and stupid and lame, and the heroes are all, like, rich and complex with, like, real motives and, like moral grayness, and it's just, they're so much more interesting. Like, you might start that show because you're like, oh, fun, like, fairy tales, haha. But, like, if you keep watching that show, it is definitely because of the villains, because the heroes are so boring. They're so badly written. Agus says... Did not make it to bed. Woke up to hear Vasco say he doesn't like Andor and also didn't like Rogue One, which at least you're consistent. Yeah, I mean, like, I know that there are people who like Rogue One. I'm assuming that you're among them, Haggis. Like, I'm not gonna try and, like, convince you not to like it, but, like, man, like a major thing that the two of them have in common is that neither one of them has characters in them. And, like, boy, am I not particularly interested in, like, a 3-hour movie with no characters in it. That nothing Star Wars is the way to wake Haggis up. I should be mindful of that. I do apologize if you're trying to get rest. It is late over there. But yeah, we're trying to get rid of our bad ghost.
Do you see? All our paths eventually become clear. I'm glad yours has brought you here.
You know, I really expected to come to the Ghost Club and think that she was, like, a charlatan and, like, a hippie and, like, a weirdo and not agree with her. I like this character. You may not agree with her, but I like the way that she's written. You can sense a disturbance in the Force. I'm not sure the Force reaches to the place that Rogue One is from. Yeah, Killmonger in Black Panther was really... like, I really wanted to like Black Panther, but the problem was that, like, it ended up bugging me in the end that the only way that they could truly make Killmonger into the villain is to have him do, like, a cartoonish heel turn for no value. Like, he had like a lot of legitimate points, and then like because they wanted Black Panther to be the hero, they like couldn't figure out how to quite write it, and like that really just like I couldn't reconcile that. Like it's not a bad movie, but like I didn't love it the same way other people did, I think, as a result. Badmouth Star Trek, do we summon Cheryl? No, I don't think it works quite that way. I think we're more likely to summon Cotillion, but I know he's busy tonight, so that probably wouldn't work either. I know that he likes New Trek a lot more than I do, much like my sister, Cheryl, who streams also. I'd love that villain if it wasn't like MCU Disney. Yeah, you'd probably get a more compelling overall story that way than the Marvel version of Killmonger.
Oh, wonderful. Now she started rhyming. Don't get any funny ideas about telling her about me. She may be a lunatic, but that's no reason to expose yourself as one too.
I'm really tempted to tell her about Bill solely because Bill says I shouldn't do it. It's like that thing in Beacon Pines where, like, Beck has a lucky penny and always does the opposite of it. Or she has an unlucky penny and does the opposite of it. I feel like Bill is my unlucky penny, right? So, like, we're gonna tell her all about Bill.
I don't hear the voices of all spirits, just one.
Miles, what are you doing?
Ah, you have a spirit guide. Please, tell me more, darling.
He's not so much a spirit guide as a spirit guy, and he's kind of like a crappy guy.
I wouldn't call him a spirit guide so much as a spirit nag.
Basically.
This is a very, very bad idea.
Do you know who this spirit is?
Yes, it's my former detective partner, Bill. I shot him on our last case together.
You shot him?
Well, the only other alternative was to let a gentleman ghost throw him off the roof.
He was on a roof, being held at knife point by a burglar.
Also, to be clear, I will maintain that Bill specifically insisted that we shoot. And this is what happens when you listen to Bill, so now I don't do it anymore.
They were too close. I took the shot, but missed, and hit my partner instead.
Oh my, you poor darling. Is he angry with you?
Yeah, like for real. Yeah, need keyword of like accidentally shot in hostage situation. It wasn't just like I dropped the gun like a weird modern day Keystone cop and shot him dead.
Well, he is now. He doesn't think it's a good idea to tell others about him. But normally, he's the same as he was in life.
So
he just
angry.
wants me to find the man responsible for his death.
In life, he was angry and judgmental, so the answer's still kind of yes.
I've told him I'm really the one responsible, but he insists it's the burglar.
I see. This is quite the unfortunate
Yikes
situation.
forever.
Yikes forever. That's the problem. When the stakes get high, it's yikes forever. It's not yikes for like 10 minutes, it's yikes forever.
My advice to you is this. Spirits often know best. You do well to listen to him about keeping his presence to yourself. Not everyone is as open-minded as we members of the Spectre Society.
Well, I'm inclined to listen to her, even though it kind of means listening to Bill.
Maybe I misjudged her.
I know. It's been hardest keeping this from my wife, but I can't drive her away. She's all I've really got left.
Your story has touched me, Mr. Fordham.
Oh no.
I will do everything I can to
horny.
help you and your spirit guide find peace.
You're having a lot of fun, Devilish, and I am too. I'm actually, like, I was a little anxious, like, going back into streaming this game again, and, like, honestly, after, like, 2 hours, I'm like, man, I'm having a great time. I don't know what it is about this game. I do really like it. Please do not make him horny. I'd rather not. But also, like, you know, Bill's a distinguished gay gentle ghost. So, like, I guess maybe there's some risk of that. I have been losing weight.
If I find anything out which might help you, I will contact you personally.
Thank you, Miss Maxwell. I appreciate it.
I don't know if this actually affects the plot, but I like that we managed to sway her. That's fun.
Well, that could have turned out much worse. I'm warning you, Miles.
Yeah, let's get
Tell
groping.
anyone else about me, and I won't be so forgiving.
Why was there such a delay on that? Haggis getting in on the fun.
Thank you for the information. It was very...
Hey, I got an achievement for that.
It was my pleasure, darling.
That was fun. Man, I like little stuff like that in games like this, where, like, I don't know that will have a major bearing on the plot, but, like, you get like a fun character moment for being like, I think this person will actually listen to my insane circumstance, and then you just get that little conversation you don't get otherwise. I'm not sure if I actually have any leads that take me
Stronger than my mom.
to Linda now. What was the other thing I learned? Oh, I don't know where it's stored, but I learned about the chicken bones. Confront Arthur Devens about voodoo. Sounds like a plan.
I'll be going now.
Hey, just out of curiosity, I know, like, we're kind of a low turnout tonight. What's everyone's favorite thing in the swear jar?
May the spirits guide you to that which you seek.
I have to go back to the loud place. Is that my mom clip from regular show? No, it's from Nirvana Initiative. It's from Somnium Files 2. There's a, cause you know like Mizuki in that game has like super strength. She like beats up a bunch of thugs, and at one point one of them gets up and he says, "She's even stronger than my mom."
Oh no, I'm
Mr.
making
Devens?
him horny.
Yes?
I'll take that as your vote for favorite swear jar thing. You didn't hear Let's Get Groping? It did play, but it like took a minute. It's weird.
Do you practice voodoo, Mr. Devens?
What?
The chicken bones and dust you send along with your letters. It's a voodoo spell meant to cause bad luck in business.
Oh yeah, I practice voodoo. I literally meant I can't hear you over this crowd.
Quite a convenient solution, wouldn't you say?
I don't know what you're on about.
Press X to
Come
doubt.
now, Mr. Devens. I'd appreciate it if you didn't think I was stupid.
All right, fine. I went to go see one of them magic women in Gasco.
Picturing
It is your vote.
She told me about the spell and what I needed to do. I don't believe in the stuff, but I thought maybe if I used it, I could scare Harris enough to get him to stop making the new airship.
Well, I don't mean to be one to put a damper on your amateur witchcraft, but it doesn't seem to be doing you much good.
No, his grandson got kidnapped. That's not something I'd call lucky.
Not exactly business though.
Good day to you, Mr. Devens.
Oh, Angel. You're so tired you tried to give this sub to sound alerts. That's so sweet. And I definitely feel that energy. I'm holding it together pretty well today. All things considered. Man, I honestly am like really bummed about some of those last few weeks of 999 streaming where I just like couldn't function, and I was like, I want to play the game, but I can't solve the puzzles even though I know what the answers are supposed to be. You can gift subs to bots. I think Sound Alerts works different, though. I might be wrong about that.
You too, Mr. Fordham.
This Arthur Devens Joker is bad news. Not only is he making threats to the Harris family, he also has the nerve to send a ransom note. We have enough evidence to pin the crime on him, I think. The police can deal with the headache of actually finding the baby.
I actually, you know, it's, Haggis brought up LA Noire, which I think is because I made the reference of Press X to doubt. I really like the idea of LA Noire, and famously, like, didn't really jive with the execution. I think this game does, like a much better job of sort of creating those alternate paths. I mean, like, to me, stuff like, I really don't think that guy is responsible for the kidnapping. But, like, I can definitely see how someone would see this evidence, particularly because it's more accessible at the start of the case, and be like, I mean, the evidence points to him. So, like, I think that's really interesting, and I like that the game, like, I also sort of like that the game just sort of presents you at a certain point, it's like, yeah, I guess you could say he did the crime. Like, if you just want to be done with the case, if you're just, like, not into it, or you're really stuck or something, you can just be like, yeah, you know what? He did it. I don't care. Go to jail. None of this matters. Say Smith. Your favorite is Tetis Grandes. Oh no, Neko says, I don't drive, so I learned a lot from watching you drive in LA Noire. False. You didn't. Although, I mean, like, I was mostly doing that to have fun because I thought the driving segments were necessary, even though they didn't serve any function, and apparently you can skip them, as we learned after, like, 110 episodes. But at a certain point, I was kind of doing it to get reactions from Tech because he was really displeased for me doing it. The big titty moment in Nirvana Initiative was very good. It is very random, but it's very good. So the trick is that I still don't really know how to find Linda, but she's like my main suspect for sure. Let's go talk to her friend again, the nanny.
Hello again, Mr. Ford.
I have some questions for you, Mrs. Davis.
All right.
Visits with Linda.
Mrs. Davis, have you ever had Linda visit you at the Harris Manor?
Oh, no, of course not.
Then would you care to explain your note to her in the Spectre Society guest book?
Oh, you just got Phoenix righted.
Please, Mr. Fordham, I didn't mean to lie to you. It's just that it gets so lonely by myself in the house at night.
She drugged you, huh?
So every now and then.
I see. And when was the last time this
Accidentally
happened?
skipped past that, but I think she was basically just saying, like, yeah, sometimes she comes over.
2 nights ago?
Next on the list, should you ever finish the LA Noire Let's Play? Nick, let me ask you a question. How long have you been working on the LA Noire Let's Play? It has...
Oh, no. I'm making him horny.
It's like one of the first things we put on YouTube, so it's like a decade old. I enjoy that people are having fun with the swear jar and the slow night. It's a good time for it.
Please don't tell Mr. and Mrs. Harris, Mr. Fordham. If they found out what I was doing, they'd have me dismissed without a reference.
Man, job culture's so messed up.
I won't, but I'd very much like to speak with Mrs. Walker.
Wet.
Do you have any idea where I can find her?
Hey, how obvious is it that that's stitched together from 3 different parts of dialogue? Super, right? Like, super obvious? That's honestly the main reason I feel bad about it. Because, like, in order to, like, get it into a usable sound clip, I had to take, like, a minute's worth of dialogue and be like, this, and this, and this.
All I know is that she works as a seamstress at a shop in Lyon. But I
Seamstress?
don't know the name. I'm sorry, I can't be of any more help than that.
I don't know why this is my reaction, but seamstress, that means that she works with EE at SS. It isn't obvious at all. Oh, thanks. That's a really nice compliment, actually, because I had to edit it, so if I manage to find points where it's not clear that that's like 3 completely different points of dialogue, that seems like a compliment to me.
Thank you for your time, Mrs. Davis.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I like the way this game divvies out evidence. We're like... I don't know. I am impressed by this game, somewhat despite myself. I really do hate Bill. He's not
I'll be going
good.
now, Mrs. Davis.
May the spirits guide your path.
Well, I think I mentioned the last time we played this that, like, when I was, like, checking into this game, like, I found in, like, one of the Steam reviews, someone said, like, they just, like, didn't recommend the game because the companion character was, like, too terrible. And it's like... At first I was like, oh, I'm sure they're exaggerating, because I have a high tolerance for stuff like that. And it's like, no, apparently not.
Welcome back. Let me know if I can help you with anything.
You know what's actually a little bit interesting is we already asked this guy about the button, and we know that Linda used the button to make the teddy bear eyes for the bear that was given to the child. But, like, he said that it wasn't one of his buttons. It kind of would have been interesting, in my opinion, if he said it was one of his buttons, and, like, we just couldn't figure out how it got there. Although I guess it's more suspicious in a mystery sense that it wasn't, because we already had some fabric that came from here. Nah, I rescind that. It's good as it is.
I've got some more questions for you.
Echo says her tolerance is low for annoying characters. I think I have enough experience with you as a member of my chat to accept that as definitely true.
All right, I'll do my best to answer them.
Linda?
Do you by chance employ a seamstress named Linda Walker?
I do, yes.
Is she here?
No, She has the day off today, but she'll be in tomorrow.
Would it be possible to have her address?
I'm hitting on her, or arresting her. Whatever will make you give me that information.
Begging your pardon, but why should I give it to you?
Ooh, this is gonna be important. I'm a private investigator and is crucial to the case. She's my sister and we've lost touch. Her son and mine were schoolmates, and I have something to return. Ah, darn. I wish that I remembered more about the earlier conversation with him. I feel like something he said probably informs what the right decision here is. Did he say anything about being, like, particularly for or against authority? Like, would he trust me as, like, a police officer? I feel like the sister thing is, like, suspicious? I mean, in theory it sounds good, but consider this. I already, like, came in here and asked him some random questions about, like, a piece of fabric. For me to suddenly be like, oh, she's my sister, and I forgot that she works here? Like, I don't know, it just sounds kind of fishy to me. I kind of like the schoolmates thing. Wait a minute. No, that's a trap. That's a trap, because we know that her son, like, famously died. Unless it's supposed to be that, like, unless, like, the thing I would have to return is, like, something that he knows that she would want because, like, the son meant so much to her. Like, maybe if he heard that, he'd be like, oh, like, you should definitely get in touch with her. Were schoolmates. Good point. Were schoolmates. Yeah. It's just, gosh, that's so tempting now. The fact that, like, that's so fueled to her backstory, like, that feels... The thing that makes me a little anxious here... Can I save? I can't, right? The thing that makes me a little anxious here is that, like, I can imagine a world in which the game, like, tries to punish me for, like, forgetting that, like, her son is dead, but, like, it is past tense, like you say, Neko. And I feel like catering it to, like, her tragic backstory is, like, the best shot here. I'm gonna go with it.
Her son, Alexander, and mine were schoolmates. I just found a book he lent my son, and I wanted to return it. I've been trying to track her down for ages. I only just found out where she worked.
Oh, I see. It was a terrible tragedy what happened with her boy and her husband.
It's a tragedy, that's all it was.
I know how private Mrs. Walker is, but I'm sure she would appreciate you returning her son's book.
Oh, I do love this game. I'm really enjoying this game. And they were schoolmates. Oh my god, they were schoolmates.
All right. She lives at 403 St. Agnes Street.
I'm in such a weird mood tonight. I hope you're having fun.
Remember when you couldn't even bring yourself to trick people into thinking their shoelaces were untied? You've come a long way, Miles.
I'll be taking my leave of you now, Mr. Solomon.
Very good.
Thick. This actually reminds me, I probably should save. I haven't saved literally since the start of the stream. And this game actually seems quite good about auto-saving. But I still want to, they were schoolmates. Question mark. That's loud.
Some people would call that humming and hissing the sound of progress.
Of course Bill finds it annoying. Bill finds everything annoying, except himself, which is the only thing that's truly annoying.
This machine is quiet. It's already gone up considerably in my estimation.
You could learn a thing or two from it, Bill.
Idiot.
It says here that Linda Walker is in the upstairs apartment, and someone named Douglas Emafiel is under the stairs.
The Harry Potter apartment. Oh, I should have checked this tree. There's something weird on it.
Nobody home. Now what? Still nobody home. You're only going to draw unwanted attention to yourself if you keep this up.
If I keep knocking, is it gonna do something different? I mean, I did just save. I could save scum. I'm gonna try it. I ain't got no shame. It's my stream. You can't make me not do it.
Still nobody home. Still nobody home. Still nobody home. Still nobody home.
Wait, maybe someone's home now.
Still nobody home.
Okay, but let's give it a minute. Steal from her post box? Maybe. I did click on it and it just sort of told me which apartment was hers. I guess I could talk to her neighbor. But let me see if she's home now.
Still nobody home.
Darn it. Let's talk to the neighbor, because I don't think that there's much else to do here.
What? Who are you? Are you from the Steamworks?
Yes.
Afraid not, sir.
No.
Damn. Oh well, what can I do for you?
Always a great way to start a conversation is just be super suspicious. Could you give me some information so I could maybe break into your home or something? What was that one cop's name? Can you be more specific, Haggis? Is it our dead partner cop, Bill?
Why did you think I was from the Steamworks?
Because I contacted them a few days ago when my boiler broke, and nobody has come to repair it yet. I should have known better. Those fools always take their time, if they even bother showing up at all.
Oh, you mean the crime scene investigator? That's a good question. Was it Konami, Neko? Was that it? I'm having a tough time remembering.
Meanwhile, I'm stuck in here with nothing but cold water. If I catch pneumonia and die, you'll know who to blame.
Not me.
Do you know Linda Walker?
Of course. She lives upstairs. Who's asking?
Actually, you know, come to think of it, I believe it was Kaniza. It makes me really... It makes me really happy, you know, like, I work adjacent to radio doing, like, busy work and stuff, and I'm assigned, like, a certain subset of all stations to, like, interact with, and I have KNZA, which I interpret as Kaniza, the radio station.
I'm Miles Fordham. I'm trying to find Linda so I can speak with her.
What's your business with her?
I'm afraid that's private.
Well, she's out right now. You'll have to come back another time if you want to visit her.
When will she be home?
You got any idea when Mrs. Walker will be back?
Not for a few days. She told me she was going away for a bit.
Oh, well, I'm glad I talked to this man.
Ah, that reminds me. She asked me to water her plants while she was gone.
You have a key?
Just need to remember where I put the spare key.
What was that about a spare key? So sorry, I was just wondering if I could break into your neighbor's home.
Did you say something about having a spare key to Mrs. Walker's apartment?
Sure, I'm her landlord. I look after the place when she's gone. Got a bit of a green thumb, that one, so she puts me in charge of watering her plants. The trip up is a bit of a pain, though. My hips aren't what they used to be.
You know, it's easy to take for granted the simplicity of simply talking to one's neighbors. Just this past weekend, I had like a shipment of magic cards that was like due to get here, and it didn't show up, and I was like really stressed and bummed out about it. And on something of a whim, I just like put up a note in like the common area of my building, and I was like, hey, according to like tracking, this package like should have showed up, like a small package should have showed up last Saturday, and it didn't. Would have been addressed to like my apartment. Like, does anyone know anything about it? Like, hit me up, please. And like one of my neighbors was like, oh yeah, like it accidentally got dropped in like my mailbox, and I was expecting something like a similar size, and I sort of opened the package and I felt kind of like weird about it. I was like, no, that's fine, I don't care at all, please just return it, and we're best friends now. Love it. Yeah, I was like really happy. I was like, this guy's cool. He like lives on like the other side of the courtyard, and like I've like never run into him before. It's not mail for. Let me tell you, the mail carriers for this building do a subpar job on average. I happened to find out that we just got a new mail carrier, and I already think she's doing a better job than the people who've been in charge of it recently. But like, constantly I'm getting stuff for like other apartment. It's just usually like packages like go to my door, this one was just happened to be something small, and so like it got put in someone else's mailbox. But like that happens like all the time. That definitely wasn't on him. I mean, is it really possible for this to go so badly that it ruins my opportunity to break into her apartment? Ooh, pardon me. Yeah, I do worry about package. I mean, particularly the timing was awkward because it was like something I ordered like months ago, and it happened to show up last weekend when I was like visiting my parents, and I was like, ooh, I really wanted to watch out for that. But it worked out. I got my stuff. I'm very excited about it. I have the tireless tracker with the weird cutesy art that came from the secret lair. No one cares about this. Ditto already went to bed, I think. Echo says, pulling the private detective card might not be good here. It is interesting to me that I agree with you. He said he like thought he left it somewhere weird. It's a good shout. Maybe I can try and come back and do this later if it doesn't work out, but like I do feel like it's probably worth trying to investigate further. That is what I wanted to do at the end of the conversation. I just got thrown because I didn't expect an option like this.
Sorry to bother you.
But you're right. We should try and...
Miles, what are you
doing? It's the little puzzle.
You don't know the first thing about steam engine repair.
It can't be that hard to work out.
If you're serious about getting it fixed, I'd suggest looking for someone who knows about this sort of thing first. But if you just want to charge in blindly, be my guest.
I really think that this game will somehow reward me for trying to find someone who knows how to, like, fix Steam technology. I don't think I have any such contacts, and it's already a puzzle screen. I feel like I kind of just want to do it. And also, I saved right before this, so even if I blow myself up, I can just cheat. But yeah. Oh, the thing I was gonna say is this kind of reminds me of that puzzle right at the end of Siberia 3, which makes me a little nervous. So there's coal, there's a lighter, there's the flue. I like that the music cut like all the way out. Starter valve, water tank, steam valve, small valves. Yeah, I'm really getting Siberia 3 vibes. If you blow this place up, it'll be much easier to find the key. Alternatively, if I blow it up bad enough, I won't need a key because I can just climb into the upstairs apartment through the rubble with my zombie strength. Now, I honestly feel as though some amount of real-world knowledge should be applicable to figure out the order of operations that doesn't explode my face. Regrettably, I don't think I possess this knowledge. Lighter and coal. Is this where the coal would be? So the notion is that... It's the idea that I'm supposed to light the coal in here, and the steam goes through here and gets processed through whatever this is, and then gets let out, exhaust at the top. So we want the dial in the green zone. Yeah, but what adjusts that? That's a horrible noise. So these knobs are gonna adjust this one. So I gotta do something with this doodad here first. But is it gonna register anything at all until I do another step first? Okay. So I think I'm supposed to do this step first. So that should let the steam build up and process, I think.
What the? My boiler! What have you done? I do apologize. You're one of those saboteurs, aren't you? One of those Redites. No, I'm calling the police, you no-good troublemaking bastard.
It's
Now
so
you've really done it,
ineffective!
Miles. Best not to stick around here too long.
Okay. So, you're free to think less of me. I kind of just want to do that puzzle. I was having fun with that, but I'm not mad that that exploded. Yeah, okay. Yeah, here. This is the place I was going. Also, hi, Twitch. I saw you come in. I don't know how long you've been watching, but I hope you enjoyed that. That was great. That was really good. I think I was on the right track. Maybe because I had like tweaked some of those valves up top first.
Home. Now what?
There was like too much pressure or something. The trick to it seems to be that like if you build up too much pressure, obviously it's going to explode, but like you're not gonna know that there's too much pressure until you know what the system is like. So you kind of have to like fire it up first. But like I think I had worked out the general order of operations. Maybe I just need to like mess with the valves up top first. Just got here really well, then perfectly timed. But like to be honest, like even though like I really just kind of want to do that puzzle, I really appreciate that like the game like actually lets you do that. Like that's really interesting to me. That like in like any other adventure game, you would just get like infinite tries to just like mess around with this man's boiler. And in this one, the game's like, I really don't think an average person should mess with that. And I'm like, I played adventure games and then I blew myself up. Like that's just really good.
Afraid not, sir. Damn. Oh well.
I'm just gonna like play through the conversation real quick.
You know Linda walk up? Well.
Have you got any idea? Was that about a spare key?
Sorry to.
So it's like the implication here. The implication here is like if we fix his boiler, he'll be like, "Oh man, I'm your best friend. You have a spare key." Da-na-na-na. So that's the black box next to his door.
Here that Linda Walker is. Says here that. Says.
It doesn't seem like I can reach into it. It's only supposed to indicate. I think this solely exists to let me know that she's up here, so I knock on that door and find out she's not here, and then to let me know that she has a neighbor, so I can investigate that. I think that's what's going on
Miles,
here.
what are you doing? You don't know the first thing. If you're.
Can we fix it without talking? Maybe. I don't know. The tough thing is like. The tough thing about this as a puzzle, other than what I was just describing, is like the difficulty of knowing whether the system's under too much pressure, is that it seems to function in a specific way such that like once things start going wrong, you just kind of like immediately explode. Whereas like in real life, I feel like you'd have like at least a little bit of time where like the gauges are crawling up and you could like react, but it doesn't seem like that's the case, or maybe something about the specific way I set it up before stops that from happening. Lefty Lucy, right? There's... Okay. Real talk, chat. Somewhere in this game, I think there is actually some person I'm supposed to be able to talk to figure out how to repair this thing. But, like, we're just gonna brute force this, right? Like, do we wanna, like, be smart and not blow ourselves up? Or do we wanna blow up several times and eventually figure this out? I think I know the answer to this. But, like, you're already here, so I might as well ask. Failure is key to progress. You know, I heard in a Hallmark movie that I didn't fail once, I tried unsuccessfully 10,000 times. Start off the fire, mess with the valve starter last. Probably something like that. I was just hoping that firing the starter would, like, process it up here so I would know what was going on. But to be honest, I'm not sure I paid enough attention to the gauges. Let's try it. Let's do this. I think it's probably lefty-loosey, to be honest. But, like, this. And I assume I have to close this door for this to do anything. But I'm actually going to give it a second and see if I notice any change to the system. Because, like, I assume... Like, we saw it boil last time,
These
right?
pipes are connected to the flue. They must heat up the water in this overgrown tea kettle.
It's weird that that's, like, the only thing you can really observe. Alright, yeah, so I have to do this. And then it's gonna boil, and then, like...
It won't go any further.
Oh, I see. There is a window I'm supposed to interact. That looks good. Is there a reason I want this one in the red? Is that like the boiling temperature? No, this is good, right? I should just do the starter, probably? See, last time... So, like, there's a trick where, like, some of the stuff, like, you get the little clock icon where you can't do anything. So I misinterpreted this last time. I didn't think I had any ability to react by the time it was building up. I also didn't notice that it actually hit red. Like, it was building up steam. I think I just fired the starter valve. Marker at the bottom of the gauge? You think it should be in red? It feels like red's bad for the boiler. I mean, clearly it was on this gauge, right? I probably want steam coming out of all of these, though. One of these seems to get into green. See the bottom part in the middle? No. What I'm seeing is there's a green gauge here. It feels like I definitely want the needle in there. And then I see this gauge up here that has like 0 to 10 and like 7 to 10 seems bad. I'm not sure what thing you're referring to about the middle of the gauge. Both of the gauges seem to have a 5 in the middle. That doesn't feel remarkable to me.
The water's boiling.
Go for 3. It seems like mostly no matter what I do, if I get the needle in green, it kind of looks like this. I think this is fine. Yeah, like this is what I had before. I think this was right. And I think, you know, it was worth, like, messing around with some stuff for a second there, but, like... I think this is good. I'm not sure, but I think it's good. Well, I can't close the door before I do the starter. Like, the next thing to do would be the starter and then maybe close the door. That sounds bad, but it made that...
Well, color me impressed. You're
Hey.
extremely lucky.
Or you've done this sort of thing before.
Oh, ye of little faith.
I only exploded once. That's like, okay. I got an achievement for that. Alright, now let's talk to this man.
Yikes
Yes.
forever.
What is it?
Well, only yikes for that one time where I exploded. Or in perpetuity of that timeline.
It's somewhat effective!
Hey buddy, I fixed your boiler.
Fix the boiler for you.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, take a look.
It's pretty pathetic when some yahoo off the street does a better job than the people paid to do this sort of thing.
I know. Will you let me break into your tenant's house now? Was you only exploded once the name of the achievement? No, it was Repairman, because it presumes that I didn't reload the game. Shh, nobody tell.
I owe you, friend.
Sorry to bother you.
Now he's mad again. No, it's fine. I'm just gonna ask him.
Yes?
It seems to be the only way I can ask him for the key, so I'm gonna do this.
I'm a private detective, and it's of the utmost importance that I get that key from you.
Is that right? Is Mrs. Walker in trouble? Has she done something wrong?
Probably and probably. No, wait. Yes, probably and probably. In that order.
I'm not entirely sure yet, which is why I need to take a look inside her apartment.
I see. Well, I wouldn't normally do this, but you did me a great service by fixing the boiler. I can't just give you the spare key, but I can let you into the apartment.
That's all I need.
That'll be just fine.
Oh no, it's
What
my
in the
apartment!
ether?
Cripes, did a tornado come through this place or what?
Looks as though she definitely left in a hurry. I wonder if she planned on ever coming back.
I have the wrong screen up, oh no! Oh, Haggis, I saw that moment. So someone posted like just that part of Ash's battle in the World Championship on Twitter. And I saw that whole clip where he sees like every Pokemon he ever trained. Although I think technically Pikachu's the one sort of seeing it, right? Yeah, well, I mean, that's the trick, right, Demolition? I feel like you mentioned this a little while ago, too, and it's a fair point that, like, there's not so many, like, positive things. Although that's kind of, in fairness, that's also kind of on brand for, like, me just ranting at games. But, like, suggestions are welcome, but, like, I don't know what those positive alerts would be.
I'll be waiting for you in the kitchen, Mr. Fordham. Just let me know when you're done looking around.
This looks surprisingly like the apartment we busted into in the last case.
Torn apart. She took most everything. Well, it doesn't appear she had much to take. Torn? I don't know about you, but I'm starting to have my fill of plants and flowers.
Now, like, the weird thing about this is he kind of suggested that, like, he does this a lot of, like, helping her water plants and whatever. So, like, it feels like he should have had some awareness that things got this bad. I don't know. Forget the pain you felt in a dream. Is that really, like, applicable?
There's a handwritten note here. Valerian mixed with chamomile. Sedative effects, deep sleep.
Uh-huh. She made tea poison so she could kidnap that child.
Seems Mrs. Walker's an amateur herbalist.
Maybe not so amateur. I'd love to see the look on Mrs. Davis's face if she knew it wasn't a spirit that possessed her. In fact, let's go tell her, so I can see it.
You've gotten fairly misanthropic in your death, Bill.
Have I? I hadn't noticed.
Man, this game really thinks it's Sam and Max, huh? That's like one of the only things it's not doing well. Trash pile.
I thought my apartment was messy.
Daguerreotype. Let me check out the sweet daguerreotype she's got.
It's a boy. Can't be more than 7 or 8 years old. If that's Linda's son, why would she leave this behind?
Good question.
Well, at least that painting cheers the place up a little bit.
Wallpaper Bulge sounds like the name of a band that I don't want to listen to.
That bit of torn wallpaper looks almost deliberate. What do you know? She hid a book behind the wallpaper. Looks like a journal.
Dear Diary, I kidnapped a child today. I don't believe it. Can it be true? At tonight's meeting, I struck up a conversation with Henrietta. Charles Harris was born the day Alexander died, and he has blue eyes. And he has blue eyes. I know I shouldn't jump to conclusions, but this is too perfect to be a fluke. To be sure, I need to find something of Alexander's appropriate for an infant. Maybe an old bear? That was April 5th. April 20th. Charles loved Barney. Henrietta told me so. She's never seen him react with such joy to any of his other playthings. There's no doubt now in my mind. Charles Harris is the reincarnation of my beloved Alexander. At last we can be together again. At last I can seek his forgiveness. I just need to find a way to take him from his false parents without getting dear Henrietta in trouble. Yeah, okay. You're making the wall horny. Look, sometimes you just gotta handle it a little. That's all I'm just saying. August 24th. I had the nightmare again last night. Alexander's cries of, "Why did you do it, mother?" were nearly too much to bear. When I have him again, I can finally explain that I couldn't do anything to stop him. Thomas was a monster, and so I was at my wit's end. Dear Samuel had helped me so much, and there was no turning back once he had consumed the tainted pie. That's definitely the name of a band. Or maybe some other type of, like, film or something. Anyway, he consumed the tainted pie. How was I to know Alexander's friend would take ill, and he would arrive home early? Watching my boy share the poisoned meal with his father was the worst moment of my life. I must get him back. Okay, I get it. That makes sense. I see what happened. October 6th. Finally, after months of thinking, I have a plan. Samuel's instruction on the nature of plants has been the key. I will visit Henrietta tonight at the Harris residence and prepare everything. It must look as though a burglar entered the nursery and tore his coat. In 2 nights, I'll have my baby again.
Well, this is pretty damn incriminating.
I'll say. Now we just need to figure out where she's gone, as well as how she managed to drug Mrs. Davis.
No, it's over here. I did that. That I did.
Oh,
I did
we've got you now, Linda. Thought you could be clever and get away with the baby, did you?
Bill?
Well, you thought wrong. With Fordham and Legere on the case, the only thing you're getting is a one-way trip to jail.
Bill?
And the worst part is how sloppy she was. I mean, really? She couldn't think to pick up a button? She might as well have left a signed confession in the crib for all the good it did her.
Man, Bill really sucks.
Bill, would you just shut up, for God's sake? Huh? Is everything all right?
Why are you here, my guy? Weren't you making lunch or something?
Yes, everything's just fine. I just stubbed my toe on the bed frame.
You ought to be more careful, Mr. Fordham.
It was so creepy.
You know how I get when we're close to solving a case.
Yeah, you apparently suck, even more than usual.
You always do this. I need to concentrate, and I can't hear myself think with you yapping away.
Right, sorry. I'll keep it to myself.
Thank you.
But you have to admit, she really would have saved us the trouble if...
Bill.
Right. Not another peep. As you were.
Hey guys, Bunny, welcome to the stream. How's it going? We're deep in the midst of solving the case of the missing, definitely not Lindbergh baby.
Well, at least that painting cheers the place up a little bit.
I kind of wonder what the betting slip would have led to, but I also kind of like that we didn't do that. However, for some reason, I feel no shame at all in going back to unexplode the boiler, mostly because I just kind of wanted to do the boiler puzzle.
Nice patterns. I wonder if Linda makes all her own clothes.
It'd be hard to tell, considering she's left nothing behind.
The books she left behind are all trashy romance novels. Why wouldn't she take those? They're clearly the best ones.
That's funny. I think you were around for our Halloween stream, but we have a new thing.
Yikes forever.
I haven't put it takes an extra step to shortcut it to the stream deck, so I haven't done that yet. Not decided how you're doing. Well, I hope that means that there's some opportunity for it to be a good answer.
Oh my
a fairly recent model.
gosh.
Linda must have spent a good portion of her wages on it.
And yet she left it behind? That's a little suspicious.
I hope you were able to find out what you needed.
Yes.
I was.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Enjoy your boiler, old man. Echo says, well, the father was a gambling addict, so he likely had debt. Right. He didn't want his wife to see the ransom. Oh, that's a little interesting. I just hadn't considered that. If he had gambled enough money that he was, like, properly in debt despite being from a wealthy family, then, like, maybe he couldn't pay the ransom, and so, like, he... would like sabotage the case or whatever. Maybe that's it. Because like before I was thinking it seems like a frame job that like we got that like too convenient confession note. Well, not confession, but like the ransom note that was like attributed to Davis, whatever that guy's name was. The guy with the rabble rousers. That's a good shout, because like that all seems to make sense to me. Because you know I'm obsessed with the fact that, like, the spelling of the word "your" is different in the two badly written notes. So, like I said, it has to be someone close to the family to know the way that those notes are written so that they could frame the guy. So it's the dude himself who got that last note accidentally. Because, again, mail carriers just not studious in their jobs. It's a theme, I promise. It's relevant to the stream. And so, like, he's trying to just get that guy thrown in jail. But that doesn't get the kid back, which is what I said before, and it still holds true. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm grasping at straws.
Yikes forever.
Or chasing pavement or whatever. So I need to go talk to the nanny. Grand Drescher.
Hello again, Mr. Fordham.
I have some questions for you, Mrs. Davis.
All right.
Drugged tea.
Mrs. Davis, where did you get the tea you drank on the night of the kidnapping?
From my own private supply, I drink a blend of hibiscus and elderberry. It clears the mind and puts me more in tune with the spirits.
Have you tried an AM/FM tuner?
Did it taste off to you?
No. Why do you ask?
Because I think your tea may have been drugged.
Wait, are you saying?
I believe Mrs. Walker used her own herbs to drug your tea, knowing you'd drink a cup the following evening. She then snuck into the house after you'd fallen asleep and took the child.
Oh my word, I never would have thought.
I know, Mrs. Davis. But don't worry, I'm doing everything I can to find her.
You could check the sign-in book again to see if there's more notes. Maybe, that's a thing to try. Although, considering the fact that, like, Linda took advantage of Henrietta to have the window to kidnap the baby, I think it's unlikely she would have left another note for her. Even though Henrietta's only finding it out now, I don't know.
Oh, may the spirits guide you, Mr. Fordham.
Thank you for your time, Mrs. Davis.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Well, I'd say we have everything we need to prove it was Linda who drugged Mrs. Davis's tea and took the child. It would be ideal if we could find out where she's gone before reporting back to Upton, though.
This is so interesting. I really like the way that this game does the cases. I like that there's, like, viable red herrings. I like that there's a success, like a partial success case where, like, you figure out who did it, but, like, in the last one, there was, like, a secret passage that, like, we needed to sort of sort out to, like, try and help someone. It didn't work out. We weren't there in time, but, like, it sort of tied the case together, and, like, I like that here, you could just, like, turn it into the police, or you could, like, do your own investigation and try and find the child right away. What did you just add to my casebook? Just she's a viable suspect now. It was a really interesting definition of suspect.
I'll be going.
So, yeah, the Spectre Society definitely seems like the next place to check. I don't know what I expect to find there, though.
Welcome back, Mr. Fordham.
There's quite a few members in this group.
Not surprised that this didn't change. But let's talk to
I don't think there's
Angela.
anything she can help with right now.
Let's not talk to Angela. I was just kidding, of course. Is there anything on the shelf that's relevant to my existence? I already read like half of these. Maybe the metempsychosis because she believes that Charles is her son reincarnated. Metempsychosis from the Greek meta, expressing change, and psyche, soul, refers to the philosophical idea of transmigration of the soul at the time of death. That is to say, the reincarnation of the soul in another human or animal. It is thought to have originated with Orpheus in the 6th century BC. Orpheus proclaimed that the body and soul were two separate entities, chained together in life. Upon death, this bond was dissolved, and the divine soul was freed from the corporeal prison. However, until the soul attained absolute purity, it was fated to continue the cycle of reincarnation. Deeds done in life would affect the soul's purity and determine how much longer the spiritual journey would go on before ascending to heaven. The theory postulates that the soul of a human or animal will be transferred to another living being. Some characteristics or personality traits of the soul are usually preserved through reincarnations, for example, eye color or affinity towards a particular person or item. That's, I mean, like, that's a little weird when you factor in, like, actual genetics, but sure. There is some debate regarding the exact nature of the transferal of souls, but it is generally accepted that a human soul will transfer to an animal which is already alive. A soul belonging to an animal or human transferred to a human will enter the body at birth, and not one which is already alive. Therefore, it can be useful to confirm a suspected reincarnation if the date of birth and death of the old and new bodies is the same. One popular believed case of metempsychosis comes from medieval Germany, where two feuding families both met their ends. The last of one line was suspected of setting the other stables on fire, during which the other perished. Soon after, a white horse took up residence at the surviving family's estate. While out riding, the estate caught fire, and the horse and rider ran into the flames, killing both. It is said that the horse was the reincarnation of the murdered heir come back to seek revenge on his killer. Alright, that wasn't super helpful. I'm going to do this. I'm going to click on each of these and click off of them and see if the game indicates that one of them is important, and then I'll go back and read it. Is it cheating? Yes. Do I care? Part of me wants to read the Squid book just because it's like very 20,000 Leagues. No, that cursive gets really small. I'm not doing it. Check her trash again. Whose trash could I check?
It's nice of Miss Maxwell to let people borrow her books. And coming from me, that's really saying something. I don't think there's anything
I can go back in her apartment if that's the implication.
Ridiculous.
If there's anything else to do here. Where would I find a lead on where to go if not here? Yeah, lots of reading. More than I'd like.
I'll be going now.
Reasonable. It's more like, I don't necessarily mind it if I'm playing by myself. It's not great for streaming, of course. And this floor. I'm pretty sure I checked that place pretty thoroughly, but also I don't think it'll let me back in. Maybe? Will it? No, it's not. I'm just gonna knock like an idiot.
You should talk.
Really? The landlord will let me back in? I'll look like an idiot in a different way. I'm pretty sure I can't find anything else there, but I'll try it if the game will let me.
Yes.
Do you think I might have an...
All right.
Okay, I really didn't expect that to work.
What the fuck?
Cause like, I mean, there's not...
Well, at least that painting cheers...
Like, I already did the wallpaper bulge. It just, like, opens the book.
And the book should...
The books are romance novels. This pipe is nothing. The wardrobe is just like, she took everything.
I don't know about you, but I'm starting to have my fill of plants and flowers. These will make great evidence in Linda's trial. Torn apart. You're actually gonna dig through that mess? Sure hope it's worth it.
Neko. It changes what the hotspot does after you consider her a suspect. I would not have guessed that. I mean, there's part of me that's a little bit annoyed about that because, like, it kicks you out of the room and it sort of implies that you have everything, but, like, interesting. Whee! I can just move stuff around like a clown. Woo. Dr. Tullamarine salt pepper solution? No, it's probably not. Solomon stitching? Probably not it. Oh, it's all like upside down and like incredibly difficult font color choices. The devil lives in the post office? Nani?
A receipt with yesterday's date. One-way train ticket to Pierre in Lorraine. Departed this afternoon.
Well, a poop.
Thought she could get away easy, it seems. Well, I hate to disappoint her.
Is that enough?
A receipt with
Thought she could get away.
Maybe that's enough. Am I supposed to go to the train station or something? Or is that enough to be like, now send the actual cops after me?
I hope you were... Yes.
Is it the sequel to The Devil is a Part-Timer? Is that any good? I see that on Netflix. You've heard it's terrible. It's a weird premise for sure.
Can we talk?
Go on.
Let's review the case first.
Can we go over my current...
Of course.
Are you familiar with the term metempsychosis?
No. What is it?
Apparently some mystics and philosophers maintain that it's a process whereby human and animal souls are transferred to new bodies upon death.
Fascinating. Some people have such queer ideas. What's that got to do with the kidnapping, though?
I believe it may be the motive for the kidnapping.
Intriguing.
When you say it like that, it sounds ridiculous.
That's enough about the case for me.
Okay.
That's enough about the case. Now about the
I'm
case.
ready to wrap this case up.
Okay. Who's your prime suspect?
Linda Walker. Unsolvable case. I do appreciate that this option exists.
It was Linda Walker.
Who is she?
A seamstress who befriended the Harris family nanny. She took the child because she believes he's the reincarnation of her deceased son, whom she accidentally poisoned.
My God.
Yeah, it's pretty dark.
Find a journal explaining her motive at her apartment, as well as the plants she used to drug Mrs. Davis.
But what about the broken window in the nursery?
All part of a false crime scene she set up to draw our attention away from her.
Excellent work, Miles. Did you manage to find out where Mrs. Walker is now?
Yes, I found a receipt for a one-way train ticket to Pierre, which departed this afternoon.
Fantastic. We can send a telegram to the train station and have her arrested upon arrival. You've done extremely well, Fordham. Snelling could only hope to have a detective as good as you again.
You flatter me.
Then I'd better stop before your head gets any bigger. All right, Miles. I'll go through the proper channels and report your information as an anonymous tip. And of course, I'll dip into the department's Good Samaritan fund to get you proper compensation for your work. For now, go home to your wife. I'm sure I'll have something else for you to look into fairly soon.
Welcome to Lorraine. An awfully cute baby you got there.
Gross.
Oh, thank you, sir. This is my son, Alexander.
Alexander. That's a good name. Strong name.
Is she gonna get killed by a cowboy? I'm a little confused. Hey, Ocadius. How's it going?
Yes, thank you. I don't mean to be rude, but I'm in a bit of a hurry and I need to get to my hotel.
This is the thing I don't actually know, Ocadius. Is your stream community like the Goose Gang? Thank you for the 63-month resub, and also the alerts are still half busted, so that's fun.
Of course. I won't keep you any longer, Mrs. Walker.
You are the Goose Gang. I love it. That explains so much about all those geese that you're always showing off.
Thank you. Wait. How did you know my name?
Ruh-roh.
I didn't. It was a lucky guess. But now, seeing as I know your name, allow me to tell you mine. I'm Sheriff Zeke Dollarhide.
His name is Zeke Dollarhide? That's what I want to call this one. His name is Zeke Dollarhide? Well, I mean, so, like, here's the thing. A long time ago, Demolition says, like, we need, like, a community name. So, like, a long time ago, I decided, like, unilaterally in the YouTube days that we were the landlubbers. Not landlubbers, like an actual historical pirate, but LAN, like local area network lovers, because it's all video online. I've never really consulted anyone about that, and I know a lot of times the community sort of names itself, but I thought that was a fun name. Anyway, his name is Zeke Dollarhide?
Linda Walker, you are under arrest for the kidnapping of Charles Harris. Surrender the child and come with me.
It says, well, it was great. We got abducted by aliens, then killed the aliens and took over the ship. A, that sounds great. And B, that might be even more exciting than what we did over here, which is that I decided to brute force my way through trying to repair someone's boiler and exploded myself. Well, I mean, in whatever counts as, like, continuity for my little fictional world, the Electric Narwhal is the name of the ship of which I am captain. It is a submarine. It's a needlessly complicated literary reference that I appreciate myself, and no one would probably ever notice on their own. Makes you feel better. He died a lot. Honestly, I'd be fine if you didn't. I thought it was really funny that I blew myself up. I did, reload the save and fix the thing on attempt number 2, but, like, man, I enjoyed blowing up. That was a good time for me. The old ship before the submarine. Good old wrecked. A really ambitious emote that doesn't really work.
No, you've got it all wrong. This is my son. This is my Alexander.
Ma'am, please don't make this difficult.
I'm
Come
Zeke
along to the
Dollarhide.
station.
I don't have a
I'll
lot
get
of time
all
for this.
Sorted out.
Addie, are you home?
Addie, are
Still
you
at her
okay?
appointment, it would seem. You know, Miles, I have to say, I'm proud of you.
Why's that?
It's because you actually listened.
Beg pardon?
So does this mean you'll keep quiet until morning?
I said I was proud of you. I didn't say you were getting a reprieve.
It's just like the most hostile working environment. Like, Bill seems like he would be in, like, at least middle management in, like, an office job. He seems well aware of the fact that he is the problem and berates us for the problem that he's created and offers nothing to assist.
Then I need to figure out how I'm going to sleep through the night without the soporific.
You worry about that too much, Miles. You can sleep when you're dead.
You don't ever seem to.
That's because I slept quite enough when I was alive.
My God, he's just the worst. He's just the worst. I don't like him.
In any case, I need to clear my head. The best way to do that after a case was always going for a drink at the Angel.
The Angel? But you haven't been there since...
Since you died. But perhaps getting back into old routines will help.
Can't you just visit an exorcist? I mean, we've literally joked about it for much of the stream, but also, we did literally contact a spirit medium as part of this case and told her that we have a voice in our head that won't shut up, and she's like, I'm gonna look into that.
Perhaps. It would be nice to see old Patrick again at the very least. Then it's settled.
As
A
opposed to
drink
young
or two
Patrick.
at the
Nobody
Angel,
likes
for old
young
time's
Patrick.
sake.
I have to say, it's been a real pleasure having you back, Miles. I was worried about you.
I appreciate your concern, Patrick. The past few months have been a bit rough, but it's good to be back in familiar territory.
Now, to be clear, he called this place the Angel, but it's clearly the Fallen Angel is the full name of the bar.
Miles, can I ask you something?
What is it?
Well, it may be none of my business, and you can feel free to tell me to stuff it.
Enough with the preamble, Patrick. Just ask.
I know you quit the force, but why are you still working as a private investigator? Why not leave all that detecting stuff behind?
Wow, this last one is highly rude. I'll go insane if I could... Is it possible this answer could matter? It feels like it couldn't. I don't know. I like to imagine that we're the good cop to Bill's pungent cop. So I feel like Miles is just like, it's what I do. I'm the boost. So I'm gonna go with the top one. Which I think is closest to that, maybe?
It's all I know. My grandfather was a cop, my father was a cop, so I became a cop. That's just how it went.
Oh, I hear ya. I come from 3 generations of butchers myself. But I broke the streak because I can't handle the sight of blood.
If only that had been true in my case.
Now then, will you be wanting another drink?
I'm not sure. I've already had 2. I should probably be getting... Wait a minute. Patrick, do you hear something?
No, Miles. I don't hear anything.
Wow, we really are gonna become alcoholic, huh? So the reason that you don't have any choice in taking the medicine is because this is a character arc, is that we're gonna go full alcoholic?
Neither do I. Another gin, if you please.
Coming right up.
Uh-oh. Ruh-roh. Ruby, ruby, roo.
Must have taken a wrong turn back there. Hopefully Addie won't hear me come in.
Unfortunately, there's, like, definitely, like, a mugger. If this is our doorway, it's, like, very bad news for us. Oh, I have, I literally have control. That's not what I was expecting. Way home? Shadowy figure? I mean, if I don't address... Is it better to address him or not address him? I feel like I should talk to Mugger? I'm not sure where the game's logic is gonna lie on this one. Can I just call an Uber? Steam Uber? I guess we'll talk to the Mugger. Hello, sir, I have money in my pockets.
Excuse me, sir. Could you spare a shilling?
Oh, I don't know. I know who that is, and I don't know who that is. I certainly couldn't name them. That is like a voice who does, like, background characters on Futurama. Like, 100%. I mean, it's not like Dungeons and Dragons, where, like, I lose something by giving a coin or something. But I guess if I give him money, he'll know I have money and he'll mug me. It's tough. It's tough to know if Shady Figure actually Mugger or like the Enchantress from Beauty and the Beast, where it's like, oh, if you were just nice to her, then you wouldn't get your servants turned into teacups. But I'm not sure. That reasoning is not... Nego, if I don't give him a coin, why would he stab me? Like, what would he hope to gain? Would he just assume I'm lying? I think he's the Enchantress. I'm gonna give him a coin, but I think he's gonna stab me.
Here you are, my good man.
You always were willing to help the less fortunate, weren't you?
That's very ominous and bad for me.
Perhaps you should start thinking about helping yourself.
I beg your pardon?
Just look at yourself. I may be a beggar, but even I feel sorry for you.
Beggars can't be losers. What? Your voice sounds very familiar to me. Yeah, I kind of figured. Are we going for the fact that the silhouette person is the rooftop flower gentle ghost?
Your voice. I've heard it before.
Yes, that's right. I'm your biggest failure.
So it's me I'm talking to?
What are you talking about?
Come now, Miles, you're not completely stupid. You think finding and catching me is going to make things better?
No, but the voice in my head does. Now, wait, when I say it like that, it sounds pretty much as bad as it is. One of these top two. Maybe not. At least I'll have some closure.
Know. It might not, but at least I'll have closure.
Again with the lying to yourself. Let's say you do find me, and this grand chase finally ends. You still have a dead partner, no real job. Your wife knows you've been keeping things from her. Even if you solve 100 cases, it won't relieve that empty feeling inside.
What's your point?
I'm all you've got, Miles. Once I'm gone, there'll be nothing left. So just admit it. You don't want to find me. Not really.
Yeah, that was Dream. Okay. That's what I figured at a certain point in there. That might have been more obvious if I didn't have control to begin with.
Bad dreams?
You could say that.
It's worse waking up to you, Bill.
Ugh, my head. How many drinks did I have last night?
You're asking the wrong person. I was out after the first one.
It seems Miss Maxwell was right about the effects of spirits. Go figure.
Yeah, well, let's not make a habit out of it, all right? You should have let me be buried.
If I
really want to burn his hat out of something, out of some sense of something. These sure are some titles, huh? And we have an auto save case 3. The title jokes, if they can be called that, are best appreciated by people either on YouTube who back it up or pause when I do that. I'm not usually reading them out loud, but I think they're a little funny. Yeah, that'll do it for the stream. We finished that whole case. Look at us go. We had a whole case in one sitting, and it was great. I loved it. Well, not a whole case. We started that on the previous stream. And by previous stream, I mean like a month ago. Man, I gotta tell you, like, there's, for some reason, I want to be mad at this game, and I think a lot of that has to do with, like, all the troubleshooting I had to do to get it running, and some of the other issues I've had, and the fact that I don't like Bill. But, like, honestly, the game itself has, like, continued to impress, and I've really enjoyed playing it. Oh, that's nice, Demolition. I'm glad we get some extra family time. I am planning on doing something productive, which is a combination of either cleaning my apartment some or troubleshooting some new stuff to add to the stream. Probably the latter. I always put off cleaning far more than I should. No, thanks. I'm glad that you like this one. Hairy baby. Oh yeah, it's got a couple bunnies. I think only one of them's visible on the couch right now, but like this one's a little friendly bunny. That one nice bunny. Smiley bunny. Angry bunny. It's a reversa bunny, you see. Reversa bunny. Yeah, there's a couple things I want to do for like I have a few like long-term stream goals. Those will take a while. There's a couple things I want to do more short-term. One of them might be very noticeable next stream if I have both the time and motivation to get it set up the way I think I might. But yeah, because my sister's not streaming, I will have more time than usual tomorrow, and I will hopefully use it to enrich my life in some way. Not that I wouldn't normally by watching her stream, but just I'm very bad at managing that time because I've dedicated it to very specific things in the recent past. The reversible bunny looks like shiny Eevee. I guess it does a little bit, yeah, like a little bit. Oh, thanks, Demolition. Thank you for the bits. Here, have one of these. I do want to set up more of these like visual gag is not the right word. I love that Cinder is wearing the tiny pirate hat. I love that you can tell that with this ridiculously grainy footage of the back of this room in my apartment. But yeah, this game is great. I really hope you guys are enjoying it. Like, I don't know. I feel like no matter what I do, I come into the stream like hesitant, like with this game. But like I know, like so far it like hasn't really let me down. Like I've really been enjoying it so far. I could add glitter. I mean, would the glitter look really distinct from the confetti cannon? I kind of submit that it would not. Oh, that's actually a great reminder, though. Earlier, I made an insinuation of, like, a funny thing I observed about Little Misfortune that, like, maybe isn't interesting to you, but maybe it is. When I went to go back and get the Yikes Forever clip to add to stream, I turned off sound effects and music and maximized character voices, which is what I always do when I'm trying to get a voice clip, if the game will let me. And what was interesting is that like the game to leave the first room, you have to throw glitter once because the game wants you to know it's a mechanic. When you do that, if there's no sound effects, there's still a little something. So there's like some part of the glitter sound effect that's in the character audio track. I don't know why that would be, but I thought that was really interesting. I don't think anyone else cares. I thought that was interesting. But yeah, again, I hope you're liking this game. At the moment, I really think I intend to finish it. I've been liking it a lot so far. And this stream really only added to it. I mean, like, this game has managed to, like, surprise me in some really new and novel ways, and it's not what I expected, but, like, I've just been enjoying it so much so far. I don't know, I've just been having a lot of fun with this stream. Thanks for coming by. I appreciate it as always. But of course, we got something to get to, all right? Somewhere on the couch behind me, I've hidden a secret Squirtle. You probably know this by now. You probably also know that if you could see a Squirtle like this guy poking out behind this Winnie the Pooh, that one's not a secret. So I encourage you to take a moment and consider where I may have hidden a Squirtle. Because if you can find that Squirtle, they will share with you secrets that will bring good luck in the week to come. You think because the glitter sound effect brings pure joy and would improve the voice acting. That's an interesting take. One of your special needs students sneezed in glitter and it was everywhere. Oh no, Ice Bunny. That's the worst. I know my ex-girlfriend like loathed glitter. She was, like, very into crafts, but, like, had very strong negative feelings about glitter and would share them the same way that I make references to Code Lyoko when no one asked. Super Squirtle behind Lorenzo. And Pusheen. Cinderagon. Behind the Pokeball. Ooh, very cheeky. Why did I do that? That's a weird thing to have done, isn't it? Alright, let's check it out. By the way, Bunny says hi. I'll mention this now just because I'm thinking of it. Hello, it's me, Crouching Vasco. I had a weird idea for like a new channel point redemption that isn't sound effects, which is to keep like a stuffed animal like off to the side and then like someone could press the hug button and then we hug it. It's stupid. I don't know. Do people want that? Is that a fun thing or is that just a weird idea I had? I have a lot of those. Let's see. From the back, I think. Hiding behind Pusheen and with our new friend Hans the Porcupirate. Is tucked away.
I don't need a map to get to Bonetown.
A turtle, but unfortunately not a Squirtle, secret or otherwise. It's a Ninja Turtle. Neko had guessed that one of her favorites, Dr. Cinderagon, now wearing Neko's own jaunty pirate hat, might be concealing the Squirtle, but, alas, that's merely a hidden Vaporeon. I think Haggis had guessed behind the Pokeball upon which my beloved crab son Carlos was hiding. Might hide the secret Squirtle, but I actually put that very little thing there so I could hide Carlos's extremely small self with him. Oh, they're so cute. I love both of them. And I saw a guest behind Lorenzo here. Carlos's cousin, as I like to think of him. That might be the Squirtle, but duh, that's where I put Tiny Lorenzo. That's right, I have Tiny Lorenzo now. Actually, hey, hang on, I'll be right back. Here's Tiny Lorenzo. Check this out. So this is a box of Squishmallow Christmas ornaments. They're all little soft guys, the size of this new Lorenzo. Lorenzo came from this box in particular. He still has his little feet and his claws, and he's got like a little ribbon. You could hang him from your tree. It's very good. They're all very good. I love them very much. This shark has earmuffs on. I don't know why, but it does. And I want to say that this is a llama. I'm not sure what this is, but it's winking. It's cute. Yeah, they're all very good. I have a whole other box of these I haven't opened yet that are Christmas ones, and I got some Christmas ones last year. I might do something with them. I have lots of Christmas friends. Anyway, Tiny Lorenzo. I think that was actually all the guesses that I noticed. I'll level with you. I wanted to try and bait someone into revealing Tiny Lorenzo because he's very cute. And also, I was very cheeky and hit it in a very difficult to guess spot, which is behind the Master Ball upon which Neko's Drifloon has been perched. There's a very teeny tiny Squirtle to go with our teeny tiny Lorenzo. They're such good friends. Under hat. I'd be impressed if I could fit that. Yeah, I love Tiny Carlos. I'm a big fan of Tiny Lorenzo. Honestly, I just wanted that set of ornaments because it had Tiny Lorenzo. I was like, oh no, Tiny Lobster friend. That's honestly, Demolition, that's exactly why I did it. I was like, I put all the Pokeballs on the couch yesterday because of Ash winning the World Championship. And then, like, today I was like, you know what? He's Pokemon Master. I should hide Squirtle behind the Master Ball. It only seems appropriate. To keep his ears warm. Fair. That is fair. That's fair why the shark is wearing that. But, like, oh my, he's just so cute. His little proportions are so perfect. What a good little guy. I love him. I like... Carlos is somehow just like perfect to me in like every way, but like I am just a big fan of these little squishmallow like dangly feet that the crustaceans have. So like the very tiny ones on Lorenzo, I'm a big fan of this little guy. Anyway, I'll stop gushing about that. There were some comments about my suggestion a minute ago, huh? You're just getting an endless stream of doubloons so you would hug Naomi and never let go. That we could do a stream like that at some point. It's hard to gauge what people want and what are memes sometimes. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. This has been great. This stream is perfect, and I love all of you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you, and I hope to see you again soon. Next Friday, our goal is to complete Beacon Pines, and then we're going to come back next Saturday with more of this because it's great. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and have a great time until I see you next, whenever that may be. Take care, everybody. Bye from Tiny Guys. Then they kiss.